Some might say I can't get too far without what's in your face. Oh, you gave me your heart and took it away. I'm going underground, going underground. Say your loving comes around, loving comes around. Going underground, going underground. 'Cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, 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 yeah. Going underground, 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 yeah. I hide in the dark, nowhere to be found. Where there was a spark, there's now only doubt. No, no, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Oh, I thought you were sure, now you're a loser. I'm going underground, going underground. Say your loving comes around, loving comes around. Going underground, going underground. 'Cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, underground, yeah. Going underground, underground,
Down for the long run now. Red Corvette and my drop top down. Calling up my digits in my Motorola and I'm speeding like I robbed someone. Falling and I'm a whip, yeah. Out in Fairfax, going hard in the pit, yeah. Yeah, I still ball on the pitch, yeah. Something wrong with the picture. Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. Why you need to lie? Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. How do you get by? Been away way longer than I'm used to. You started hanging with a new crew. Talking to my friends like that's something that I'm used to. I never cashed else, I just wanted him to lose you. Damn, puffing on that bullshit Uncle Sam's. Who'da thought that he would understand? And I just never fall out, I just wanna win. I'm in it for the long run, I do this on my fam. Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. Why you need to lie? Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. It's round 3 here at the Simrigs Sprint Series at Octane Online Racing for Split Blue. We've had 2 fantastic rounds so far. Last time out at Zolder, where we had some great performances out there on track. A brilliant circuit. But we're over in the Americas now. We're moving to New York State. It is Watkins Glen, one of my absolute favorites. And we will be taking you through this hour-long race. 15 minutes qualifying about to start out. There's 2 mandatory pit stops today. And the standings are getting pretty interesting as well. We've got Stephen Tyne, the lead of the overall and in pro class, with Jeremy Washington in 3rd overall and leading silver class. We'll talk a little bit more about Pro-Am and Am a little bit later on. But my name is George Cook, and I'm joined in the commentary booth here in the Americas with Alexis Bowen. Of course, we've got Neil on the broadcasting tools today as well. So a big thank you to you, chaps. Alexis, welcome in. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you, George. It is great to be here. I'm doing fantastic. Like Watkins, Glen. Love the track. Love the track. It is fantastic. And these Sprint Series races are always exciting to watch, no matter the track. So I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good race. Watkins Glen is just something special, and with 2 pit stops as well, expect to see a little bit of chaos in the pits, whether it's going out or in, especially in, because that is an absolute nightmare for drivers to figure out. You've got to hug that inside line and make sure you get in nice and smoothly, but our qualifying has begun. So what do you reckon? What are we expecting here? Do we see a 43 hit today? Probably some 44s guaranteed, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say with the caliber of drivers we've got, you could see your 43s. I think last night in the spec series when I was commentating with Mitch Hobbs, he was even mentioning like as 42s even. I'm not sure how fast we will go, but I think we'll definitely see a few get into the 43s.
Yeah, please give us a 43. Please give us a 42 as well. That'd be absolutely fantastic. We're on board now with Brad Cook. He's been driving the Honda NSX. He's been having a rough time this season. I think he's very brave to choose the NSX. But, we've got to talk about LFM BOP. That's what we've applied for all these series in the late part of 2023. I suspect we're going to use them going forward. It's absolutely fantastic so far. Look at all these manufacturers on your screen right now. We've got Bentleys, we've got Hondas, we've got Aston Martins, we've got all sorts. No one in the 488 Ferrari, though. That's absolutely key.
Yeah, that's it. It makes me happy seeing so many manufacturers again, because for the past few seasons we have seen a lot of same in terms of the manufacturers, and a lot of the cars haven't really gotten a lot of love just because they haven't been competitive. But now that we are running the LFM BOP, it has made things so much closer, so much tighter, and now drivers can run the cars that they want to without fear that they're going to lose a lot of time as a result.
Yeah, and as an example of that, in the top 10 of the standings right now, we've got 2 Aston Martins in there, a Bentley, we've got Mercedes, oh no, that's just out. In the top 11, we've got a Mercedes as well, 2 Ferraris, a McLaren, an Audi. We've got 3 Porsches in there, so the Porsche's doing rather well. But, it is really nice to see the spread out there. And we're going to be seeing, of course, this, that was nearly a moment into the inner loop, into the bus stop there. Slightly slow BMW.
That number 22 BMW could have done a lot better there with letting Brad Cook through. That is Brian Pacio.
Yeah, we'll actually don't recognize that. Maybe we haven't been looking down far enough on the grid, potentially. But yes, though, if you're going to get out of the way of someone at the bus stop, probably best to do it before you get to the bus stop. Just slam on the brakes, pull over to the right, and just stay right out of the way. Being in the road there is not, it's not great. It's not fun.
Yeah, you'd almost want to either leave the room for the drivers to go, like you just pull over to the right-hand side, or even just take the runoff and cut the bus stop, but just let drivers go that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, or just plow it into the barriers and reset to the pit, but we don't condone that.
No, definitely don't condone it, but if it's your only option, then you have to do what you have to do.
Exactly right. I've seen a couple of drivers do that. So it looks like Pacquiao is the sort of bottle in, or cork in the bottle, I should say, at the moment in qualifying. We're about to see the drivers go across the line, set some more times. We've got one on the board already. It's a 44.8. Now, the track temperature out there, we've got 26 degrees track, 18 degrees ambient, There's another better time. Maddox goes to pole. There's a 43. There we go. So Joshua Vediger, the only one there able to stay out of the bottle, so to speak, and able to put in a great lap time. He's done fantastically well. He won last time out at Zolder, and he is right up there in terms of this championship. I think, he's actually done a P9, but he's missed out one race already, so he missed out the starting race. So he's got a little bit of work to do in the remaining 3 races, but Joshua Vediger is a fast contender.
Certainly is, and I mean, if he was able to come in straight into that top 10 in the standings after only 1 round, then he could very well find himself right up the front of the championship by the end of the short 5-round season.
Exactly right. So a couple of housekeeping items before we continue as we go on board with Bub now. For now, there's my little joke for today. Yeah, I'm the sneaky one. So welcome into everyone in chat, of course, coming to you live on both YouTube and Twitch today for Octane Online Racing. If you do enjoy today's broadcast, please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, all of the things. Do all of the things. It all really helps us out with the algorithms. And in addition to that, of course, you are watching the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series. And for those of you who support us on Patreon, you do get 5% off at simrigs.com. So go check them out, and do please consider becoming an Octane Online Racing patron. It really helps us out. All the hard work from all the admins, the team, the stewards. We have live stewards, the whole caboodle. Of course, we don't get paid here in the commentary box, but that's fine. We have too much fun here to be paid. Alexis, but make sure you guys go and consider becoming a patron. Really helps us out, and that 5% discount in simrigs.com is quite nice. Yeah,
absolutely. All of the stewards, commentators volunteer their time, and pretty much, the supporting OOR through Patreon is one of the best ways that you can give back, I guess, to the league and really show your support. So it'll be fantastic. And yes, as you said, the 5% off at simrigs.com, they are great over there at simrigs.com, and they have pretty much all you'd need for your sim racing adventures.
Exactly right. Across the line goes Falcon up. He's in the Pro-Am class at the moment, 774 car. He's done quite well there to get himself up into P13. Now on board with the Lamborghini of Maddox, and finding a bit of time out there as we head into the chute. Very tricky area here. Got to get those downshifts, got to get the car tucked in, got to find the grip. As soon as you find it on the downhill section, you've got to get that power down as soon as possible. Another tricky corner as we come up the toe. This is the famous section here. Sometimes not included if you go with the short version of this track, which I think they use for some racing series. I'm not quite sure which, but this is known as the boot here. So for those of you who do like references to maybe beer or whatever your favorite drink is, the boot here, maybe. Then through the heel we go. Very tricky section. Get it turned in. Up the hill we go, hard braking zone, but you need to brake a little bit less than you might think. Turn it in, get on the power, watch out for that grass on the outside. And then I reckon these are the 2 most fun corners here. Basically just full throttle, go for it, lift off a little bit, get the car turned in, and now you're heading towards the last corner. This is where the tricky pit entry is, of course. The cars entering the pits have to hug the right-hand side there, which is basically right across the racing line. Fun, but scary.
Certainly, yeah. And another thing with this track, it is pretty much all blind corners here, so you don't really know where your apex is until you actually get to the corner, so it can be very tricky to work out where to brake, where you need to turn in, where you need to get back onto the accelerator to really maximize your exit. So if you get a good time around here, you're doing really, really well for yourself.
Yeah, too right. I mean, hooking up a lap is absolutely everything here. You know that the exits are where the speed is at. There's only 11 corners in this 5.5 kilometer circuit, so there's not a lot of corners that you need to focus on. Key one obviously being turn 1. You really need to slam on the brakes. It is downhill, so it does make it a bit tricky, but you can run quite wide on that curb. So if you can get that right, then you're in a good position and a good spot.
Certainly. As we look now at Herod, who is approaching over his lap. He's just hit the outside there. So that's going to really hurt his time, but he's still 2.5 tenths up. Maybe found a little bit into the second last corner. What does that do as he comes into the final corner? Might compromise his line a little bit. Yeah, he's lost a little bit of time. He's still 2 tenths up. They'll improve him up to about P11. Yes, he does, P11.
Wow, what a guess there. Brilliant stuff from Alexis in the commentary box. Knew exactly where Herod was going to land there. So looking at Joshua Vediger again, he has fallen down the times a little bit. Stephen Ty currently leading us in P1, then Shady Samuel. That is your order for Pro Class and the overall standing so far after 2 races. Double yellow flags ahead. That was a little bit of an awkward line there. Got slightly bounced by the curbs. That is inevitable at the bus stop, unfortunately, and another favorite corner of mine. Not the whole circuit. I just like the whole circuit.
Yeah, it's just one of those really technical, tricky circuits that you can just come to love just lapping around in. And Bitter right now having a little bit of a trouble when he's pulled over. He's going to give it another crack on a fresh set of tyres. You could see that Porsche did not like the bumps there at the bus stop and was just really struggling on traction.
Well, that's another tricky thing about this track, and it's usually there usually are some fairly high temperatures out there. I think it's still around 26 out on track right now, but as soon as you overheat the tires, there's so many corners where you're going to essentially be relying on that mechanical grip. It's really hard to come back from that. So in a 60-minute race, it's basically 3 quali stints, 20 minutes long. You're not going to suffer too much from things like tire drag. In fact, that's going to be next to nothing. But tire temperature and just keeping things in the window. Otherwise, you get that sliding effect, and especially if you go through like up the toe and then through heel, and you've got hot tires, your car's not going to be particularly happy with you. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's a little bit of a domino effect as well. If you have those higher temperatures in the tires and you're getting that slide, that in turn is going to really hurt your tire life, and you're going to get more tire deg, which means you're going to be struggling more throughout the race, and it just keeps getting worse because you get more slide, more tire temperature, more deg. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah, exactly right. So that was Aaron Slay coming across. He's now P20 as we go now on board with Dian Rama, who was actually quite an interesting contender out at Zolder. Did reasonably well. I do like this livery. I know it's a bit plain, but there's some nice references on the side that I'll let the chat go ahead and figure out for me. But 4 minutes 30 seconds remaining on the clock now, so we're coming into the final parts of qualifying. Probably only 3 or 4 laps out there for most, especially those who are exiting the pits. This is Jeremy Washington in one of the only Aston Martins out there, and it is a lovely livery and it is a great car. He's been doing fantastically well. He's P3 in the championship right now. Oh, that was a moment at the toe. Yeah, that was a big moment at the toe, but he controlled it, but that's a dead lap.
Yeah, well, it looked like he was running a bit of what looks like a Benetton livery on that. That was a stunning livery on Washington's car. Another stunning livery here on Brad Cook's Pertec Honda. Of course, Pertec spelled slightly differently to what you'd expect from the Pertec brand, but brilliant livery nonetheless.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Yeah, Split Blue, well renowned for their good liveries and bad luck with weather. But at this stage, it is looking nice and dry out there. There's a low weather randomness on the server today, so we shouldn't be expecting anything out of the ordinary. Good lap so far for Brad Cook. He's nearly found 0.2 of a second. The question is, can he hold it through the last couple of corners? That NSX is occasionally quite a tricky car to drive. I'm sure he's found a way to wrangle it under control. Through the last corner we go. A little bit of counter steer on the entry, but does well. Runs nice and deep into the corner. He loses a tiny bit of time. It's marginal though, 0.2 of a second. That's up to P5 for the Honda NSX. Very nice lap.
Yeah, it did well. Maybe just went that touch too deep into that last corner that Honda was really struggling to get the turn in. Now here is Shady Samuel. He is less than a 10 off of Stephen Ty. This lap could potentially move him up. He gets onto the grass. That could really make the car loose going on the entry. Managed it really well though. Shady is really pushing this McLaren around. What's it look like around the final corner? That was nice and close to the wall. He comes across the line now. What is the time going to do for him? No, it's not enough. It was a 43.8. He still has probably 2 more laps to do it though.
Oh, yeah, close but no cigar there. But yeah, 77 hundredths separating P1 from P2 at the minute. That is a very, very close gap here at Watkins Glen, and it usually is. It's close racing out on track. It's close in terms of qualifying times. It's hard to get a lap in. It's hard to manage things around here in terms of strategy on occasion, but depending on the length of your race. So I think it's all the elements. It brings together some great elements of racing here, and I think that's why it's so well loved amongst the sim racing communities. Yeah,
well, I mean, you were talking about margins. You look, and there is a second separating P1 and P16 at the moment. So it's all very, very tight, which is, again, a combination of what this sprint series can offer, but also just the track in general. It is a track that can really tighten things together at the field. Here is Jeremy Washington. He's 0.2 up. This will put him up P9.
Nice. Yeah, it's another good lap. And that's exactly the point, isn't it? It's the fact that you can go and get a 10th on the last corner and you can move up a couple of positions. Finding time as well as Shady Samuels, the valid lap. We did just see before it was Shogun, the Mercedes driver, up on his time, but sadly invalidated the lap. He'll have to go for another one. 1 minute left on the clock. 16th, 10th found on the Delta right now for Shady Samuel in the McLaren. One of my favorite cars. I'm certainly not biased. Around the corner he goes. No grass touching there. That's very good. Looks tidy. Has lost a bit of time on entry. Can he gain it on exit? No, he can't. But this is going to be good enough for pole. He will take pole position for the moment. The question is, can Stephen Ty come back with an answer?
Going to be interesting. Stephen Ty will have another opportunity to do it. It's not going to happen on this lap, but provided he has the tyres and the fuel for it, he can go for one more attempt. Maddox won't be going for it. He is in the pits. Brad Cook won't be going for it. He is also in the pits. So it's down to Shady Samuel, Stephen Ty, Vediger, McDonald, Herod to try and find him. Really, anyone can sort of do it. We'll keep an eye on what Ty does through his first corner. It looked a little bit wide, a little bit deep. It's going to compromise his run going up the hill towards the bus stop.
Oh, I love this section. It's just beautiful and flowing. You're right, though. He unfortunately didn't quite get that exit right. It's not going to cost him too much, but as you can see, 300ths of a second down on his time, and that's taken up towards 400ths of a second. The session time has finished, so anyone coming across the line now will be finished in their qualifying. Looks like a good entry into the bus stop for Stephen Ty. Hasn't found any time there, really, but I suspect that it's in that latter half of the race circuit is where he maybe lost a bit of time. The Audi can be very tricky. It's an MR car. It's got big power on it. Very tricky to handle that thing in through the corners, which is kind of what Watkins Glen is about. But Stephen Ty, if anyone can handle it out there, I would put my money on this man right here.
Yeah, and Shady Samuel has invalidated his time, so it's all there for Stephen Ty if he wants to take this one. See what Vediger can do further behind. He looks to be on a lap as well at the moment. But we'll stay on with Stephen Ty. He's gone a little bit deep again into the heel, and he's gotten quite loose. That Audi just starting to struggle a little bit more on the traction. He's really having to turn that thing, and yeah, he's really not finding much at the moment. I don't think this is going to be enough.
No, 10th down on his time. He will come through the last couple of quarters. Finds a bit there. Runs super deep. Nearly goes and invalidates his lap. Doesn't do so, though. Can he find any time in? No, he's run into the wall.
But here comes Vediger. Vediger is very close. This could be super, super tight if Vediger can absolutely nail this final sector. He's got the Mercedes right in front of him. What's it look like? Oh, that may have compromised him. No, he's there. He's going to take it. He's going to take it right at the end. And he's done it! A 43.420 with the car on the outside. How did Vediger do that?
He went on the inside. He overtook a car and found time. That's astonishing from Joshua Vediger. Well done. I don't know how he's done that. I mean, the Mercedes was on a valid lap as well, so he doesn't have to give way, but went very, very deep. And Joshua said, right, that's the inside line. I'm just going to open it up and absolutely send it. And there he is on pole right now.
That astounds me. Wow.
There you go. Coca-Cola, no sugar. That's how you do it. You take the sugar out of your fizzy drinks and you drive like that man right there. So we'll be back with some on-track grid walks in just a moment. But yeah, astonishing stuff. Shady Samuel lines up behind Joshua Vediger, and then we've got Stephen Ty, your top three. Stephen Ty and Shady Samuel currently leading your standings in pro class. So I'm just going to quickly run, while we have this momentary break, quickly run through our current top threes in all the categories. For those of you who don't know, we have Pro, Silver, Pro-Am, and Am in that order. Currently in the standings in the championship with a 5-race season, so 2 races to go after this one. Stephen Ty, Shady Samuel, and Tom McDonald, your top 3 in pro. Jeremy Washington leading silver, followed by Eric Scarney, hashtag Scarney for pro, and then Aaron Lee. In Pro-Am class, it is Steve Lewis continuing to lead us away with a good gap over Gabriel Salvaggio, and then Aaron Slade, P3 in Pro-Am class. Then we've got Shackelford leading our Am category drivers. He's in P13 overall, actually above our Pro-Am category leader there. So hashtag Shackelford for Pro-Am, I suspect. Followed by Hayden Marsh in P2 for Am class, and then Giles Stratford down in P35, but third overall in Am class. So yeah, it's reasonably tight out there. I'm interested to see if Joshua Vediger potentially gets another win here. then potentially gets himself right up into this championship.
He could very well find himself right in this championship with the quality points that he's gotten for pole position, and if he gets that race win, yeah, he could find himself right up the front. But we're just looking at the grid order now. We have Vediger from Samuel, then Ty, Maddox, Reynolds, Cook, Washington, McDonald, Herod, and Kwan, your top 10. Washington was your lead silver driver in that quali session. Kwan, your lead pro-am driver in that session. Further down, we had in the AM class, you had Marsh leading the way down there in P28 in the AM class. But yeah, going to be an interesting one. Plenty of cars out there, which is great to see.
Yeah, nice big grid. I think there's about 31 cars on grid, so maybe slightly down in attendance from our first two races, but you know, anything above 30 is a really good number. We're about to go on our first sort of formation lap here. Excuse me, before the race start. So things to keep an eye on today, I think. Kwan is actually further down in the Pro-Am standings, so that's a great qualifying for him in P10. Be interesting if he can convert that into a top 10 finish in the race. That's one to keep an eye on. Washington has qualified P7, leading the silver class overall in the standings, as well as out on track. Converting that is going to continue his run of great form. He's on for P3 in the overall standings, so it might be hashtag Washington for pro as well. So maybe Scarney will be happy about that fact. We'll see. We'll have to talk to him after the race. Other battles there to keep an eye out for. Lewis, he'll be charging through the field. He's down in P18 at the moment, so not a great qualifying for him. Lee, Slade, Rama ahead of him, so he'll have a little bit of a battle, but he's basically sandwiched in the middle, 5 Pro-Am drivers, and that is going to be an interesting little battle to watch.
Yeah, certainly is. But just a word on Washington. Yeah, he is a very, very competent driver. He's shown good pace in not only ACC at the moment, but in the F1 series in the past. Has taken quite a few wins in the top tier of the F1 series. So definitely has some pace about it. It's nice to see him coming back into racing here in ACC. And that is, yeah, just a stunning livery with the Benetton livery. Yeah, it is the Benetton livery. That is beautiful.
Yeah, it really stands out. You know who you're looking at. Let's put it that way. I think, is it George Benetton? I'm not 100% sure. First names, last names. Here I go, making mistakes as I always do on the commentary stream. But yeah, a striking livery, and nice to see an Aston Martin driver as well.
Yeah.
Those cars are, as far as I've driven, not the easiest things to drive. So I take my hat off to anyone brave enough to get in there as well.
Yeah, here's Muriel, who's another Aston Martin. I just noticed that P5 we have Nissan of Ashlyn Reynolds. Reynolds is just outside the top 10 in the overall standings, currently sitting, what is P12 at the moment. Of course, has only contended one race in which he scored 100 points from it. So Reynolds, yes, we do have the BOP, but he's putting some good pace in that Nissan, which is also another car that just really struggles, unless your name is Lucas Burrs.
Yeah. Yes, exactly right. And it's also one of the widest cars out there. I know that there's not a difference. It just looks wide. I'm not going to use the term that everyone probably knows, but the Aston Martin and the Bentley, very wide cars. They're heavier cars. We did see earlier the handicaps you saw on the right-hand side of the timing sheets as well. Race Control, of course, coming in saying 9 different makes in the top 10. Excellent to see. You love to see it. 2 Porsches. Get out of here, Porsches. We don't want any more of that. But nonetheless, we are lining up side by side, about to begin round 3 here at the final part of the year. 2 more races to go after this, but it is the Simrigs Sprint Series here at Octane Online Racing, and we're going to go green flag racing in just a moment. Can Joshua Vediger hold on at turn 1? Can Shady Samuel find a way around the outside, or is this going to let Stephen Ty come all the way through? We will see. And just a moment's time, track temperature is rising, and that is the green flag. It is go, 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 out on track. And it's a good run there for Joshua Vediger. Will he hold on to the inside line? Yes, he does. Looks like Stephen Ty was challenging him early on. It was a great start off the line for that Audi driver. And now here we've got Maddox falling slightly back from the top 3 already. Up the hill we go for the first time, but Joshua Vediger leads us away from Shady Samuel, now under pressure from Stephen Ty. And this is going to be side by side down the first straight here for these chaps. This is the battle now for P4 and P3. What will happen into the bus stop for the first time? This is where things get scary. Let's see. Can they sort out single file? Looks like they can for the most part, but side by side we go. Great stuff. You love to see this. What a start.
Yeah, it looks like it was Bob. Now I can't quite make out what. Look at. I think now we're looking at Washington, who is still there in P7 at the moment, going side by side, or is that? No, it's in the background there. There's a car that's just gone off. I think I can't quite tell. Yeah, it looks like there was a car that just went off. It's going a little slow now. It has picked up speed again.
As indeed.
Out front, looks like we have Shady Samuel out front.
Yeah, so I think there's been a pass there, potentially just up into the toe. Joshua Vediga might have run a little bit wide. We've got a yellow flag at the toe as well. A couple of cars involved down the back of the grid. And it looks like Stephen Tyres had maybe the one with the issue there. There might have been an overtaking move through the outer loop or the chute, but it's dropped him back to P4. Reynolds in the Nissan has moved up to P3 in this race. And look how close these top 5 are at the moment as we finish our first lap out on track. Of course, bear in mind, 5 minutes through the pit window will open, and there are 2 mandatory pit stops in this race. The strategy will come into play. When do you pit? Do you pit early? Do you try and get out of the dirty air that you're going to be encountering? Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. If you're in a battle, you definitely want to take that earlier pit stop, try and get the undercutters. That is tight between Herod and Washington. Washington holds around the outside, but Herod is starting to put a lot of pressure onto the Aston Martin driver there. But yeah, up front it is, yeah, Samuel, Vediga, Reynolds, Ty, Maddox, McDonald, Washington, Herod, Bubnell, and Hignett, your top 10.
Very nice stuff. Through the bus stop chicane we go again, side by side. Joshua Vediga under pressure from Reynolds. Reynolds does back out of the move, though, keeping Joshua Vediga very honest. This is letting Shady Samuel run away with things in that blue and orange McLaren out front. He is going to be quite happy to see this chap's fighting in the background. Reynolds gets a bad exit out of the outer loop. He'll have a bit of a challenge into the chute. And on the inside he goes, though, so not too bad. He will defend from Stephen Ty, and Stephen Ty is now having to go defensive from Maddox. So lots of contestation for the positions right now. Joshua Vediga just trying to hold on at this stage.
Yeah, Vediga struggling a little bit in the early stage of this race. We'll see what that Porsche can do. That is McDonald shaping up a move on Maddox up the inside of the hill. No, he backs out of it. That was smart.
That certainly was smart, because that does not go, unfortunately. The dive down into that area of the track does not usually work out particularly nicely. Just a quick note here, up 1 position is Shady Samuel from P2 on the grid. Reynolds up 2 positions at the moment. The big winner in all this today, though, Piper up 6 positions, and Scarney, that's just Scarney for pro, up 6 positions at the moment. Started P25, now P19. Jeremy Washington and Herod in a bit of a battle as well, as we get a fastest lap from Shady Samuel of 43.9. There we go, already in the 43s, Alexis.
Yeah, wow, that is very, very fast. Shady Samuel seems to have a car that really works in this race, as we look now on board with Matthew Herod, who seems to have gotten a pretty good run out of turn 1, and now we'll have the slipstream on Jeremy Washington going up the hill, and it looks like he's got a really good run, but he has to sort of back out of it, so this might have just helped Washington a little bit here. But now Herod will have a really nice run. That Porsche is a little bit faster in a straight line than the old Porsche, but I don't think he'll go for a dive into the bus stop, and yeah, he holds back for now.
Yeah, he had too good of a run there, didn't he? Because he had to back off. He had nowhere to go. You can't really go side by side at the top of the hill. So you've got to time that overspeed that you do get, and if not, you might have to just back out of it a bit, but that usually ruins the overspeed. The battle does continue. Will there be a move up into the chute? No. Jeremy Washington doing very clever moves here and essentially cutting off the front of Herod's car to keep himself in contestation for that P7 slot.
Oh, that was deep.
Oh, nearly a moment there. So that was a little bit close for comfort.
As we have quite the gaggle hill. Dean Rama's dropped down a long way. Seems to have quite a bit of damage on that McLaren. I think maybe just went really, really slow. He was dropped about 13 positions in all of that. And yeah, that McLaren looks like it's seen better days.
Certainly has, yeah. You see that little gap there between the front bumper and the bonnet. Doesn't do great for aero. It's great for drag increase if you want more drag on the car. It's really, really good for that. But in all other situations in racing, that is not a great thing to happen. Oh, nearly a move there for the Mercedes.
Oh, and he's in the wall again.
Oh, no. Okay, so things going from bad to worse for Dean Rama. We're starting fairly well up the grid there, side by side. Yeah, look, he's got no grip.
He's going to have to come in. He has to box. and it looks
Yeah.
like Brad Cook's come in as well. So there's actually a few that have come in early. So maybe there's a few early ones that just want to get out of traffic, or some that have a bit of damage that they need repairing. But out front, Shea Samuel has run away with this. 2.1 seconds already after 6 minutes.
Yeah, he'll be stoked. Stephen Ty, Reynolds, and Vediger all in a nice little battle here. I'm sure they're having fun because this is great stuff. Like when you're battling at Watkins, Glen, it's all about the slipstream. It's all about the corner exits and then sort of the psychological warfare of racing around here, which is definitely is important at a circuit like this. You know, throw it up the inside. Just keep yourself in that left or right hand vision mirror, and you will eventually force a mistake, or maybe just distract the driver in front enough for them to miss an apex, slightly run the tires too hot. And that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be trying to keep your tires cool. Maybe this is what Vediger has tried to do. So maybe he's not looking to keep the car running at full tilt to keep up with Shady Samuel. Maybe he's quite happy here in this spot. Although, I have to admit, with a car behind me, a Nissan at that, with the name Reynolds attached to it, I wouldn't be particularly comfortable.
No, I mean, Reynolds is a very, very, very fast driver, and he's very smart as well. But as you said, it's going to be completely mind games this one. You've got drivers around you to get some kind of advantage out of it, because making moves around here is not the easiest thing in the world.
No, it's that exit of turn one, up the hill and onto the straight towards the inner loop, the bus stop chicane, as we all like to call it. That is pretty much the area to do the overtaking in. That, you know, if you're not getting a good run out of turn one, which it looks like McDonald doesn't get a great run there, but he's close enough behind Maddox that he will pick up a bit of a slipstream. Won't be an opportunity, I think, for McDonald here, but again, he might be quite happy to run in that dirty air for now. It's nice to have a car in front, as long as they're not making mistakes to run against. But these five here, from P2 to P6, all tied together at the hips at the moment.
Yeah, I think the exit out turn one could be what saves Josh Vediger from a potential move from Reynolds, because otherwise that Nissan is an absolute bullet in a straight line.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, it's got great top speed. I mean, the Nissan, from what I know, doesn't have a great top speed. Probably not as good as the Audis or the more modern generation cars. But, you know, in the corners, it's a weapon in the right hands. And the fact that we see it right up there in P3 is a testament to the control that Reynolds has, and to the bop as well. We've had a few comments in chat saying bop works. Yes, it does, because we get racing like this, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, the Nissan may not quite have the same top speed as some of the other cars, but what it does have is that acceleration. If you're able to get your shifting right and really get that turbo working, you can really bring the speed up quick.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting used to the sort of meta that involved 2 or 3 cars and how those cars performed at a you know, in terms of its meta. One's got better top speed or better braking. You know, Ferrari 296, great on the brakes, got some you know, great acceleration out of the corners.
Oh,
that's
tap on the wall.
Yep, Watkins wall is where Reynolds is driving right now. I'm sure that won't be any damage on the car. Might be a little bit of damage to the right hand side, but that won't affect his aero or anything. But he is under pressure now. Again, if you don't want Reynolds in your mirror, you don't want Stephen Ty either.
Certainly no. Just seeing Babby in the Twitch chat saying that car 22 has been disqualified. That is interesting. I'll have to investigate that a little bit as we see a few more coming. It looks like Benjamin Piper's coming to the pits as we look on with Muriel.
Yeah, there's a few ways to get disqualified from a race. One of those is the admins deciding that, so maybe we'll see from race control if we can either pull up a replay of what's happened or find out from race control, but nonetheless, always sad to see a disqualification. Here's the Aston Martin, beige in its color, side by side. Oh, you love to see it. I mean, it's awkward as anything, but Muriel gets the move done. Stunning move.
Yeah, it was clumsy, but he got it done in the end. Honestly, it probably would have been better if Falconer had just backed out of that one a little bit. I don't think he was going to be able to hold around the outside. It made it a little bit more awkward getting through there. Okay, car 22 got disqualified for unsafe driving.
Okay, that is a big slap on the wrist, yes. That ironically, or unfortunately I should say, is Brian Paccio, who was the very slow driver we saw in qualifying earlier on, slowing up a lot of drivers out on track. So potentially potentially that is continued, unfortunately. Fastest lap again, 43.8 there from Samuels. He's on an absolute charge. The gap up to 3 seconds out in front and doing very, very well, as we see. McDonald decided to come into the pits. Now, that could be interesting because he was running behind the pack at the top. He was running P6. That spot now goes to Jeremy Washington. I think McDonald is keen for some clean air.
It's smart. It's smart from McDonald. He wasn't really finding any opportunities to get past Maddox, so next best thing you can do, you've got the 2 mandatory pit stops to use up. Take one of them now, come into the pits, change those tyres, get into a bit of clean air, and try and get past Maddox and potentially even tie Reynolds or Vettiger as well with the undercut.
Exactly right. Yeah, get that clean air, then you're absolutely, you can go for it. You can go and set some quali laps out there. You know, he might need to slightly extend one of his stints. You know, if he's pits now, then half stints. It's 24 minutes a stint. But, you know, you and me both, and I'm sure everyone in chat and the drivers too know that 24 minutes on a set of tires not going to really do them anything bad at all. You know, they're going to be fine after that. You've just got to manage the temps. That's really the key thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be okay for the most part. Here's Brad Cook. He's yeah, McDonald's a long way ahead of Cook. Cook was the previous lead driver who had taken the stop. Now that goes to McDonald as we look back at Samuel. There's a little bit of blue flag action going on now. Vettiger started the breakaway from Reynolds.
Yeah, that didn't take too long for the blue flags there, but these things do happen, especially when you get pit stops involved, of course, as well. Maddox here, holding on nicely.
And Reynolds just another tap of the wall as that is Falconer around.
Oh dear. All right, we've got a replay of this, so let's take a little look. So this is on
no.
Muriel. Oh dear,
no.
It's the corner we love. Into the heel we go. It's a send up the inside, and contact. And that story unfortunately comes to a sad conclusion there, and Falconer will be, not a happy chap.
I think that was maybe just a little bit ambitious there from Falconer.
Yes.
But yeah, the move could have been on had he been a little bit further up alongside, but I just don't think it was quite there for him.
No, I mean, the only way you get an overtake into the heel is if you're side by side in the middle of that straight before it. You have to
get the exit out of the toe. Like, you almost need to like shape up for removing the toe and then get like almost like a switch back to get the exit if you want to try and get a move done into the heel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a late apex sort of corner. You want to be driving out of the corner in a straight line. So, at some point there, if Muriel's got the outside line, he's going to have to turn in.
It's exactly what Herod tried to do there. He tried to take that late apex coming out the turret, did not quite get the traction he needed. So Washington will be safe for now, but what Herod is trying to do, he's trying to brake later than what Washington is doing to try and get that late apex and the exit as Bub now is around.
Oh no. Okay. So
I think this could just be grass on the exit, and yes, it is grass on the exit. Oh, that's a big hit of the wall as well.
Ouch. Yeah, that was gave me a little bit of a jump scare there, jumping straight on board. I was like, oh no, that's not a good position to be in. You can't park there, sir.
No.
Unfortunately, fortunately for him, no other cars were in an overtaking situation behind him. Otherwise, that could have gotten, what's the word? Interesting.
Yes, yeah, it's one way of putting it, I would say.
Yes, and the Swiss Army knife of commentators' phrases for mentioning things that are terrifying, nightmarish, scary. Interesting is the way we put it. Yes.
Yes.
Gotta love it.
It's a very apt way of putting it, I would say.
Yes, it's it's subtle. It's subtle, and everyone knows exactly what you mean.
Yes.
Great. So we continue to do our best here in the commentary box to bring you exciting, descriptive words for scary things out on track. If you're racing, Maddox is still on the back of Stephen Tighe. Stephen Tighe is fallen back a little bit from Reynolds. I'm wondering now, because we've got about 5 minutes till a quote-unquote one-third the strategy sort of situation. Most of those who are going for equal pit stops, 20 minutes of stint, will be pitting in about 4 or 5 minutes. I think Maddox would be a really smart contender here. I think it'd be really smart for him to go and pit a little bit early. Probably the same for Stephen Tighe. We've seen him do this before. Stephen Tighe is always clever with the strategy, and knowing that McDonald, who is in behind them, has pitted, I think better sooner rather than later.
I think Tighe might be the one that takes that opportunity just because of where he is, and that Audi is starting to struggle a little bit more. I'm noticing he's getting a lot more slip, especially through the bus stop. So if anyone was to take the opportunity, it would probably be Stephen Tai. But for now, all 4 of them keep going.
Yes, I'd like to see what happens if we get 2 in this pack or 2 close together.
Oh, Herod!
Whoa!
That is a save and a half.
That was beautiful, a thing of beauty. Get this man into a drift car because he is clearly a natural adder. Let's take another look at this on the replay. It does go wide there at turn 10.
Yeah, he was just a bit offline, and that sort of, when he was braking, that just made the car very, very loose on the turn-in. And, oh, that was a hell of a save, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd love to see an onboard replay of that and see what he was doing with his steering inputs, because I suspect he had a bit of a moment there, some sweat dripping from his forehead, I'm sure, as he counter-steered to maximum lock.
Yes, indeed, as we look now at Eric Scani, who's on the back of Nicholas Macbeth. Will he try from Ruby? He's got a really nice slipstream. No, he backs out of it. That's smart. You don't really want to be pulling out that lane at the bus stop as Macbeth gets very, very loose. That could open an opportunity for Scani to try from Ruby somewhere, but right now, Scani looks like he has the better pace.
Yep, exactly right. So Scani, one of my favorite cars out there. He's got the Aston Martin, of course, but it is 007 all the way. He's a man on a mission here. Hashtag Scani for pro. It's the 3rd time I've said it. I think we're trying to get to 10 in the stream, so we'll just see how we go on that. We did see just before Hayden Marsh, the 27 car leading AM class at the moment, a 15-second penalty. That won't actually lose him the position in terms of AM class lead. That was a collision on lap 1 for the man who likes to be called the Taco. So he is unfortunately going to lose out a little bit there, but back on board. That's Reynolds pitting. Okay, the group has decided to split up. Reynolds is keen to come in, and I think, yeah, this is a great move. We've got Samuels in the pits as well, so our leader and Reynolds in the pits, maybe just a little bit early, maybe 2 minutes or so early. That's going to open up Stephen Tai to potentially go a little bit faster, but we'll see, because he's still obviously got Joshua Bediger in front of him. Very interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on what McDonald does. He's been lapping in the low 44s, which is pretty good, given that the fastest lap in this race is sort of been that high 43 range. So at the moment, McDonald's been lapping really, really well. As Stephen Tai is, now nice and open to attack Vediger, but he does have a few blue flag drivers to contend with at this stage.
Yeah, that certainly won't be ideal at all. Yeah, fastest lap, 143.8. So it's a very, very quick lap there. I'm just trying to see who's scraping towards that. Stephen Tai and Joshua Vediger are probably the closest, both with a 44 flat. Stephen Tai, the 2nd fastest lap out there on track at the moment. Reynolds as well. Ashton Reynolds done very, very good. 44 flat as well. So those 3 drivers absolutely flying out there. The question is, with a bit of clean air, what can Reynolds do? I get the feeling he can get into the 43s with clean air. I really do.
Oh dear,
incident.
that was the car around. That was the number 79. That required a lot of avoidance there. Oh dear.
Right.
Oh, brakes! Hold the brakes!
Oh, brakes!
Oh,
my
Reynolds!
goodness. Okay. Compliments to Reynolds for seeing what was going on there. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, always hold your brakes, folks, because otherwise you could be rolling back into the middle of the circuit. Wow.
That absolutely could have been avoided. That he could have held the brakes when he was on the grass and stayed maybe just on the track. But, wow, yeah, just looks like he hit the curb and right around. That is a very dangerous place to have that happen, and was probably lucky not to get collected by Reynolds.
100%. Yeah, I don't think I've seen many spins at that area of the track. Of course, if you do get the entries, a little bit of a dip before you go up the hill. That might have caught out the Lamborghini driver there. But there's only one person on track who's happy about what's just happened there. And that's going to be Hayden Marsh with a 15-second penalty sitting in the pits right now, with his nearest AM class competitor being Stratford, who was the one we did see spin round there after turn 2 up the hill. Samuels has come out of the pits, now has set his first lap on the 2nd stint. There's Joshua Vediger. This could be really close.
No, I think it is a little bit further down. I reckon Vediger will come out ahead. Oh, no, this could be tight. This
Reynolds
could be very tight. Reynolds. Reynolds has gotten Vediger.
Wow.
Even with the avoidance that Reynolds had to do, he's still managed to get the undercut.
Wow. So we've got Reynolds able to find undercut territory and speed whilst avoiding Lamborghinis out on track. And we've got Joshua Vediger who can overtake and find time and get qualifying pole. But yeah, Joshua Vediger, I mean, the race is not going his way at the moment. Reynolds with that undercut, that's a huge moment for Joshua Vediger. He's down technically to P3 overall in this race. Maddox does come into the pits. Stephen Ty stays out.
Stephen Ty is trying something a little bit different. I wonder if he's going to go a full 30 minutes to start with and then just quali runs the end, like 15-minute stints.
Yeah, honestly, that would be a sensible thing to do at this stage, I think, for Stephen Ty.
I think he has the pace for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what was our qualifying pole position time? I think
it was a 43.4 from memory. 43 around there.
And so if Stephen Ty was only like a 10, let's just, we won't give anyone the benefit of the doubt here. Let's just say he's 0.2 of a second off that, 2 15-minute quali stints. And if he's setting those kinds of lap times out there in amongst chaps who will be running in the low to mid 44s, yeah, he could be making upwards of half a second, maybe even a second per lap at the end of this race. So maybe it is worth it for Stephen Ty to stay out. It is entirely possible.
Certainly is. We'll keep an eye on where Maddox comes out in relation to Reynolds and...
Oh, Maddox, no. That's a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. He's hit that pit limiter too soon. He's come out ahead of Reynolds and Joshua Vediger. That would have been a stroke of genius there from Maddox with a huge undercut. But it's gone sideways into a stop-go 30. That's a disaster.
Yeah, and he has to serve... I believe he has to serve that penalty now. The rules have changed slightly, and he now has to serve that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So for those of you who are not aware of the change in our live stewarding, stewards used to replace the stop-go 30 with a 10-second penalty, which would have hurt Maddox anyway. But unfortunately now the new rules are that we're going to allow the in-game stop-go 30 to happen. Oh, that's just... so unfortunate for Maddox. So he would have been up. He's technically P2 right now.
Yeah, it's highly unfortunate, but if the game picks it up that you're speeding and gives you that stop-go 30, you were very clearly speeding by a significant amount.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it can be a smaller amount as well, but yeah.
A lot of the times it really only picks up when you're like upwards of 5 kilometers over. But yeah, no, Maddox is just letting these ones through. He'll be devastated.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point he knows that he might as well come in for the stop-go 30 now. Stephen Ty is in the pits, so this is a critical moment. We've got Reynolds coming through. Maddox will go into the pit lane. That makes it awkward for Joshua Vediger. Oh, I was hoping for a little bit of something like this, and we do get it. Joshua Vediger, known for finding time on that corner, does navigate it very, very well. Out of the pits comes Stephen Ty. Oh, this is going to be close, Alexis.
I think Stephen Ty's got it. Yes, he has. So Stephen Ty now has some clear track ahead of him. And he can now potentially give chase to Shady Samuel now with stints that'll be slightly shorter than those around him.
Exactly right. That is a big development there. Well done from Stephen Ty. But, of course, he's got the challenge now of having to get those tyres up to temp before he can go flat out. And he does have a very fast Reynolds in behind him. McDonald has also found a bit of time out there. He's now right at the back of Joshua Vediger. And this is going to get close between these two. So even though McDonald pitting early didn't seem to work, pitting later definitely seemed to be the best strategy. Everyone we've seen pit later has come out ahead of their competitors.
Excluding Vediger.
Except for Vediger. That's very, very true. Yes. So maybe this just comes down to the difference of where you stop in your pit box and how quickly you get down to pit limiter range.
Yeah, I think McDonald may have got held a little bit because he came out a fair way back from these guys, but has now brought his way right back into things. So I wonder if McDonald just may have had a slightly worse pit entry or maybe even got moved in the box. But so far he's doing really nicely in what is currently provisional P5.
Yeah, too right. So I'm just going to run through some numbers very quickly here. Pit time, Stephen Ty, 32.1, 31.9 for Reynolds, a 33.6 for Joshua Vediger. So he lost basically a second and a half there. Oh, into the wall as well for McDonald, just for good measure. And a 32.3 for McDonald.
Okay, so it seemed the later pit stop was the more optimal way of going about things, but Vediger just did not get his pit stop right, I guess.
Seems to be that way, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, if you lose a second in a field this close in the pit stop, yeah, you do lose a position, unfortunately. Those chaps were all running P2 to P6, all running within like a second and a half of each other. On board now is Steve Lewis. He's leading Pro-Am class 959. So Steve Lewis has made a great charge up the field and nearly runs into the back. Watch out for that James Bond, though. He has a pistol and he's pretty good at using it. Nonetheless, Steve Lewis having a good race so far. No, sorry, he is not leading Pro-Am class. That is Kwan, so correction here from the commentary box. Kwan is leading, but Steve Lewis has had a good charge back up, getting ahead of two others in the Pro-Am class. So he's P2 at the moment, and only a couple of positions away from Kwan 2, although Kwan's a fair amount down the road. Scardy here, though, and this is another great stat for you. He's made up 11 positions overall this race so far.
Yeah, Scarny tends to have a few issues in qualifying, getting things together, but come the race, he is blistering quick, very quick, I should just say. I'm just going to keep it simple.
Yes, well, you were right with that describing word. Let's put it that way. He's not blistering his tires, but he is blisteringly quick indeed. Yeah, a fast man. He knows what he's doing out there. This is why we keep having the hashtag Scardy4Pro.
Yes.
You know, please tweet, retweet, quote, comment, like and subscribe. Go and follow him, of course, on YouTube. Eric Scarny is out there on YouTube. I think several others might be as well around this grid, although I'm not 100% sure who, but I do know that Scarny...
Oh, yeah, you can't cut it that hard. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a wall, there's a barrier
Was
there.
that Lee Perkins, potentially? Number 33?
Try to find it now. I'm not even sure. Oh,
yeah,
yes,
okay, we just got the nod from the broadcaster there.
Wow, that was a huge moment. So you do need to get a lot of turn in on the bus stop chicane.
Oh, Reynolds is going to have a go at the bus stop. Oh, this could be dangerous. Oh dear.
Wow. Yes, our hearts and our mouths for a moment there. It is like you've got to make that decision. I'm sure you've been in this position, Alexis. You get into a position where you can overtake, and then you've got to make that decision. It's a gut-wrenching decision. Do I go for it or not? And it's like a period of 50 meters where that can happen at the end of that straight into the bus stop, and your gut just sinks.
Yeah, you have to think really, really quick. You have to be on your toes all the time. You have to really, really consider things.
Yeah, exactly. Trust your gut. Let the survival instincts kick in, and go for another lap. Is my general bit of advice there.
Yep. For me, especially in an endurance race, which is a sort of race that I'm used to participating in at the moment. Oh, that was close. Excuse me. Unless you are convinced that you are going to get a move done cleanly, you need to just take it a little bit cautious.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, you've got to be careful about really sending it on a track like this. You really do, because if you send it too hard, you will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a meme somewhere around this. The green flag, send it. Black flag, you've sent it too hard. Something along that lines. You've got to be very careful about it around this track. If you're not side by side, 50 meters out from a corner, you're probably not going to get the overtake.
Yes, I think you are referring to the green flag, send it, yellow flag, someone sent it too hard.
Yes, it's exactly the one. Yeah.
Yep. It's a classic. It's a classic.
It's surely, and it's very accurate as well. It's very true. I remember the first time I saw that, and I went, "Wow,
it works so well."
It does. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not unlike my first rule of Bathurst. Send it. The other two rules are slightly more conservative in their approach. We're on board with Falconer now, having a nice little slide around the final quarter, turn 11, fighting with Bubnow out front. And I have to admit, Bubnow has got some lovely colours on his livery for his Porsche. One of my favourite colour schemes out there amongst them.
Yeah, certainly it is. There are plenty of brilliant liveries made by the fantastic community members here in OR.
Exactly right. We've just crossed a half race distance, I will note. So that means we are now half distance in this 5-round series here, the Simrigs Sprint Series, at the end of 2023. We will, of course, be back with Season 16 of the Sprint Series, an 8-round season next year. I think it's somewhere around late Jan, early Feb that we get that started. So obviously, if you're enjoying that and you want to watch more action out on track, please do give us a like and subscribe. And of course, if you are an OOR patron, you do get 5% off at simrigs.com. So do consider becoming an OOR patron and support us. It is a really, really, really beneficial thing for us. So many thanks, of course, to those who are supporting us on Patreon. Some good battles going around out there. 29 minutes ago, most people have done, everyone's done their first pit stop out there. Aaron Lee's done both of his, turns out. Let's see. I think we're going to see some pit stops at the 20-minute mark. I think that would be the sensible thing to do, but we know that the overcut seems to be the play. So will we have some late pit stops, maybe just before that window closes?
I'd say potentially, given that we have Muro at front who still needs to do both stops. It does make me a little bit uneasy when drivers leave it out to the last minute. That is very wide there, Mark Smith. And that's one thing we haven't really talked about, is track limits. They can be quite harsh around here.
They certainly can. I mean, that's a great example of one. That's immediately a track limit warning. The game does not mess around with that at all. Pretty tricky to pick them up at places like the bus stop chicane, but as soon as you go around towards the heel and up towards the final few corners, you know, turn 10, for example, fast, left-hander, you lift off once, you hope the car's front tires grip, that the aero works, and you just pray as you go in, because if you always want to use that curb, and if you're using it right, you're basically running the last few centimeters of your left-hand tires over it. But one more centimeter and you're off track, and that's another track limit warning there. Those are the two, probably the biggest ones out there. I can't think of any others that might be really tricky. Or maybe at the heel. That's probably another place, isn't it?
Yeah, no, there's actually a few places where you can sort of get it. But no, generally you just have to pray. That's all you can do.
Yeah, there is a big element of that. I mean, all of these corners are sort of medium to fast, right? So you are relying on the grip, you're relying on the turn of the car. As a penalty gets applied for Falconer there, 10-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 16. That was a couple of laps ago. I don't think we caught that on camera, but very unlucky there for those involved. And yeah, I wonder how many are up on their track limits now. There's got to be at least a few on 2, or maybe 3.
Yeah, I'd say there'd be a few track limits out there, as we just have a little bit of bowing. Reynolds has gotten ahead of, in fact, so has Vediger. What has happened to Stephen Ty?
Oh, Stephen Ty must have had an issue. Bus stop?
Here we go, bus stop. Let's see. Oh, that's a little deep. Whoa! Oh, my lord. Whoa, my.
Yep. So when a car gets launched, I usually say, welcome to the McLaren space program or the Audi space program. That you're in the aerospace program. You're not quite an astronaut. You did control it. Ashley Vediger has got a 5-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin on lap 16 as well. But crikey, that was a moment. And Stephen Ty now down into P5. He pulled out a huge gap as well.
Yeah, he had about a second over Reynolds, but yeah, just that little mistake at the bus stop has caused a lot of issues. Now Vediger's picked up his pace again. He's found something here as Muriel does his first pit stop.
Certainly has. Let's have a little look at their timings right now. Joshua Vediger, his fastest lap this stint, 43.9. Last lap, 44.5. 44.5 as well for Reynolds. Stephen Ty's done a 43.7, but the fastest lap's gone back to Shady Samuel, a 43.6. No one's catching Shady Samuel at this stage if he keeps putting in laps like that.
43.6 in the race is very, very fast. Yes, this is a sprint race, but still, come on, that is just mighty quick.
Well, and this is why we're worried about the track limits as well, because it is a sprint race, so everyone's out there pushing like it's 3 continuous qualifying sessions, which is essentially how you kind of fuel the car. It's essentially how you kind of deal with the tires. You go, right, we're using the set of tires. They could last for an hour and a half, but we're going to use them in 20 minutes, and that's basically the theory. Then it's just a matter of, you know, as we said before, managing the temps. That's kind of the key thing. But yeah, I mean, that is some pace. He's 8.3 seconds up the road for this battle. I will say though, obviously these drivers here that we're watching on board with right now, not necessarily doing themselves any favors with all the battles from the start of the race. So that's probably cost them a few seconds out there. But I mean, Shady Samuel, unmatched on track right now.
And that would have some championship complications here, as Shady Samuel would go ahead of Stephen Ty, I would believe.
Yes.
Gap between those two at the moment is 9 points in favor of Stephen Ty. Shady Samuel would make the point deficit he has at the moment into a points advantage at the end of this one.
That's big. Swing of the championship, and then with only 2 races to go as well. You know, it's a world championship, of course. You know, so we take this very, very seriously here.
Yes.
So you want to win. You want to be P1. It's a world championship. All right, world championship Sprint Series here. We'll petition Mull to change the name to a world championship title.
You could be on the same level as Max Verstappen.
There we go. We've got a nod from our broadcaster. That's right, the Verstappen. We'll give them a, I don't know, I'm sure we can put together a paper trophy of some kind, right?
Yeah, surely.
I think we've got 50 cents somewhere in the kitty, so we'll have a little look at crowning our
I mean, you could always be inspired by the A-League and just make your trophy out of a part of a highway.
Yeah, we could actually. That's a good point. Yeah, we'll just create an NFT out of one of the broken parts on a car and send them. Oh dear. Right, so before we completely send ourselves off the bridge of silliness, which we do like to be on, it's a great bridge to be on. Hignett is in a battle with Herod. These two are a little bit separate. Herod going for more slides. Wow. Okay. He's going to have to defend hard here up into the toe. He's got that Boatley on his outside, and will he be able to hold around the outside? Hignett nearly does. There's a little bit of paint exchange at the rear of Herod's Porsche. What is Herod doing? He's drifting. He seems to be having a lot of fun.
I think the positioning of the car through the toe from Herod was actually quite smart. It did not allow Benjamin Hignett to get that cutback that would have allowed him to potentially go from move into the heel. But Herod is wide once again, and Hignett's putting a lot of pressure. Oh dear, that was so close to the wall. Hignett up the inside, the second last corner. This is always going to be tight through here. Herod holds around the outside. There's a little bit of a tap. Reynolds is into the pits, but Herod holds on. Whoa.
Oh, stunning work. Yeah, that's not how you enter the pit.
No, I don't think that's how you meant to do that.
No, that's that might be. I don't think it'll be a slap on the wrist, but it's certainly not. That's not the way you do it. I'm sure Herod will be relieved for about a split second, and now he's got Jeremy Washington bearing down on him too. There must be something with Herod's tyres. I think he's experiencing that domino effect with his temperatures that we talked about a little bit earlier, Alexis.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just starting to really push those tyres and is now starting to struggle with them.
Yeah, not a fun position to be in. The tyres do get away from you here. Again, it's not about the graining. It's not about the tyre life at all in a sprint race like this with 2 mandatory pit stops. It's just the temperatures, and one corner leads to the next. And even though there's only 11 turns here, you'd think there'd be plenty of time for the tyres to cool down, get back in the window. Yes, there's a little bit of time, but really it's only that back straight. Other than that, you're seconds away from entering another corner.
Yeah, and it's all like fast sweeping corners as well that you have, so you're putting a lot of load on the tyres pretty much all the time.
Exactly right. Another pit stop done by Reynolds there. We did miss that pit entry. I was wondering why the pink Nissan was no longer part of that battle. Hignett comes out of the pits. Yeah, with his interesting pit entry, has a pretty clean pit exit. So that's good. We like to see it. You'd love to see it. Washington now charging against Herod. What can Washington do?
That was a bit wide.
Yeah, crikey. This is why we love Watkins Glen. Watkins clutch, I'm going to call it now.
Yes. Yeah, no, and looks like we have Herod reacting to the pit stop of Hignett. Don't run too wide there, Mr. Washington, as Vediger is also in the pit reacting to the pit stop of Ashland Reynolds.
Yeah, so that's going to mix things up. Ashland has pulled the trigger, as we do see a bit of blue flag traffic there for Shady Samuels. So, yeah, Reynolds has pulled the trigger there with 20 minutes on the clock. And I get the feeling that a lot of these other drivers who are fighting with Reynolds might be looking to stay out longer. I think because Reynolds was one of the drivers who stayed out nearly the longest out there in the first stint. I'm almost surprised in a way that he's not continued that, but he has come out ahead of Maddox and McDonald, so that's critical for him. Oh, Maddox has yet to pit a second time. McDonald has pitted a second time, so McDonald being ahead of McDonald, that's a good sign. It's a good sign. But here's
And
Vediger.
Vediger is moving. I think Reynolds should get him because there's still a bit of the pit road to go. It's going to be interesting to see where Vediger is in comparison to McDonald. McDonald's ahead.
Yeah.
McDonald has done that undercut very nicely.
Wow. That's stunning work.
He's coming a long way ahead. I wonder if Vediger's stuffed up his pit stop again.
Well, I'll tell you what. While we all continue to enjoy, I will look up. Oh, he has. Joshua Vediger, a 36.6. Oh, no. That's nearly 5 seconds slower than it should have been.
Yep. So he's been moved in the stop.
Oh, that's so unlucky to see. Oh, dear. Okay, so Joshua Vediger, he was on pole position. He set the fastest lap in qualifying, but it's the pit stops, unfortunately, that and a little bit of a maybe running a little. Well, I think it was the pit stops. I think that's his Achilles heel this time round.
Yeah, his pace has been okay. It hasn't quite been on the same level as what he had in qualifying, but yeah, it's just been those pit stops that have really hurt him.
Exactly right. Okay, so my eye is going to be drawn to Stephen Ty. Obviously, Maddox there, the reason why he's still got one pit stop to do, and in a familiar position, for those of you joining us from earlier in the race, familiar position, he had a stop go 30 that he had to serve, so he is essentially 1 lap down on the drivers he was competing with earlier on.
He's basically done a whole other pit stop involuntarily.
Yeah. Exactly right, yeah. In fact, he must have lost even more time from that, I guess. Either way, he's able to fight like he's back in the groove here. This is where he would likely be, or hereabouts, in this race if he had not had that stop go 30. Out of the pits comes Shady Samuels, and he is, of course, still in the lead of this race. He was about 9 seconds away from P2, who before the pit stops was, I believe, Reynolds. And now it's all eyes, for me, at least, on Stephen Ty and what he can do. Jeremy Washington also making his final pit stop.
Yeah, Washington comes out in about 13th. That will put him, I think, maybe behind Herod by a bit of a distance.
Yes, indeed.
But quite a distance, actually. So I don't know what's happened there with Washington, whether he's also had a bit of a poor stop.
Well, quite possibly. I mean, it's easy to get the pit stop wrong. It is easy to get a single corner wrong, run wide, dip a toe or two onto the gravel. We saw what happened with Stephen Ty at the outer loop when he dipped a toe on the outside of the exit of the bus stop. And it can cost you a huge amount of time. So that's probably more than likely where this is all coming from. I haven't seen a drive-through penalty yet out on track, so I don't think anyone's racked up.
Well, now you've jinxed it.
I have. This is what I do for Split Blue. This is why they love me in here, doing commentary on Split Blue. I either give them rain or I give them penalties. It's one or the other. We switch between it each week.
I see. So you gave him rain last week then?
I did, yes.
Okay, there we go.
I got so many messages of appreciation in chat. But yes, none will compare, of course, to those in Split Blue who remember Bathurst from last season, where I think I cursed probably a dozen cars and was relegated into the weather reporting station for the next race. So,
well, to be fair, it is Bathurst. It's always easy to make a bit of a mess of things, but I don't think we had much of a chance of rain tonight, given the low weather variability, and given that we had a bit of rain last night in the split yellow action for the Spec Series.
Ah, very nice, yes. Well, Watkins, Glen and Rain, I think it's a lot of fun. Some people really don't enjoy it. I think Watkins, Glen is best when it's optimum dry and sunny. I think that's where you get the best racing.
Yeah, generally, I mean, we had some fantastic racing in the wet last night in the Spec Series with split yellow, but in terms of driving the car, definitely the dry is better.
Yeah, 100%.
That was a little bit wide of the line there, Stephen Type, but you've made it into the pits.
Yes, so there are ways and means of gaining a little bit of time at the pit entry at Watkins Glen. What you've just seen there on screen might have been one of those ways. Was it Muriel, I think it was, earlier on, showing us another way of doing it? I think I've got that wrong. There was someone else who did a similar line, let's put it that way.
I think it may have been Hignett.
Oh, I think it was Hignett. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So this is Muriel here. So Muriel's still got one more pit stop to make. Stephen Ty is now in the pits. Kwan still to pit as well, currently leading the Pro-Am class.
And currently leading the race.
That's right, yes. There we go. So
Red flag it now for Quan.
oh, it's a Yuki Tsunoda move. You know,
Yes, very much so.
lead a couple of laps over the season and feel good. I've done that a couple of times. It felt great.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic when you're leading a race, but then you remember you have to come into the pits and it all comes crashing down again.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And in my case, it was because I started on dry tires in a wet race, and everyone decided,
Ah.
we need to go onto dry tires, and so I led for 2 laps and then had to pit and went to the last again. Just no surprise on that
Stephen
one.
Ty's come out ahead of Reynolds again.
Oh, okay. So Stephen Ty, wow, putting in some great lap times there. Let's have a look. His best lap in that last stint, 43.7, so that was the same one as he did earlier in the stint, but he's going to have to get his tires up to temp. But that's another great move there from Stephen Ty, and look at the gap. I mean, it's just over a second as well.
He's worked those pit stops really well, Reynolds. Oh, yeah. That got... Oh, what a save.
What a save. Let's take a look at this replay. This is going to be spectacular. He went far too shallow into the bus stop. Far too shallow. Yeah, clip the curb there. The car starts bouncing. Whoa!
And he pretty much hit
round
the
of
apex
applause.
anyways.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, ideal line there, really, in all ways. Just that slightly wider body of the Nissan.
Yeah,
I mean,
but yeah, he just took it too shallow and got that part of the curb where it just breaks away immediately and really unsettles the car. Yeah, just right there. But looking on at Macbeth, there's a bit of a battle here. Scarney and Lewis ahead of him.
this is going to be a fun fight. Macbeth in silver class, of course, Scarney in silver class, so a silver class sandwich of Steve Lewis at the moment, and Lewis is fighting back. He wants to keep his lead in Pro-Am class. Hashtag Lewis for silver class. And this is going to be a good little battle. We've got 2 Ferraris and then an Aston Martin out front. And look, this livery, we've talked about it before. It was Austin's favorite car last time. The sound effects from Alexis, love it, mate, love it.
Yes, and I will just provide some correction here. It is not a silver class sandwich, it is a Pro-Am sandwich with the silver class as the bun.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It always irks me how it becomes a sandwich of what is on the exterior, but that is not how a sandwich works.
No, it's a very good point. Yes, this is a Pro-Am sandwich. My bad. If it was a ham sandwich, I mean, unless you're KFC doing something weird with the buns.
Like the double down, yes, sort of thing, yes.
So unless you're that, but no, you're absolutely spot on. Thank you for the correction.
No, it's fine. It's just one of those things about commentary that just really irks me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm definitely a repeat offender on that.
So sometimes I'll do it too, but in my mind I'm just like, no, that's not right. But
it's a bread sandwich, don't you know?
yes, in the meantime, we got Macbeth. He's going to try and go around the outside of the bus stop. That has compromised Lewis's line, but Macbeth sort of let him go for it. So Lewis has been let free for now.
Yep. That's the correct decision making there for Macbeth, but I think what you can do in those situations, you can plan that a little bit better so you don't lose so much time behind the car. I mean, there could have been that you can set up through the bus stop with a good line and a good exit. You can set up the entry to the chute. Everyone goes wide there and heads into the braking zone. There's a big opportunity there to set up the inside. There's nothing they can do on the outside line.
Yeah, and if you really get the run through the bus stop, you could potentially try something into the outer loop. It's very sketchy getting something done through the outer loop, but it can be done.
Yeah, it certainly can. Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of to go around the outside of the outer loop even. You know, if you've got the overspeed, you can do it. There's a huge amount of runoff on the outside of that exit of that corner.
Absolutely, yeah. There is that space there for you to really try that. But just looking down, I think everyone has now completed their stops.
Yes, that does look to be the case. 2s all around. Yes, there is. We've had a few unfortunate disconnects or, excuse me, self-disqualifications, as I've liked to term it. Oh, Vedica is behind McDonald.
Yes,
Right.
McDonald has managed to get ahead of... Oh, yeah, no, McDonald was ahead of Vedica.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? Yes, sorry. Correction. Joshua Vedica had a very slow stop and ended up behind McDonald. Is now on a charge back towards the rear bumper of McDonald and has made that time up quite nicely at the end of this race. 10 minutes to go. So he's got to find a way past, and soon, I don't think he's in range of a P3 today, though.
Yeah, if he gets past McDonald within the next lap or two, he could potentially go on a charge on Reynolds, but Reynolds is hard to overtake, so I think the best he can solve for is 4th, but he could definitely shape something up on McDonald here. Either way, McDonald has had a very clean race today.
Certainly has, yeah, impressed with McDonald. He's up by 4 positions, so he qualified P8, is now running up in P4, so he's had a brilliant day out at the moment. That last pit stop of his was a 32.3. Fastest lap out there for him, the stint 44.4, so he's running at good pace. He's running consistently, hasn't had any issues. We haven't seen any incidents at all. This might be a run for Joshua. Can he make it? No, sensibly backs out. He'll try and line it up. That's a shallow line entry, and all bit bumpy though for Joshua Vedega. McDonald does run wide over the curb though on the exit of turn 1. Advantage Vedega.
Yeah, Vedega right now has the overspeed, has the slipstream. Can he shape up something into the bus stop? Maybe just compromise the line of McDonald a little bit. McDonald isn't having a bar of it, but Vedega is going to stick a nose up the inside. No. And yeah, he has to shallow the line a little bit as well, so going to have to hold off for now.
Yes, well, you know, in a way, the entry into the bus stop is like playing Squid Game. It's sort of like a trust game, or a distrust game in some ways. You've got to have full confidence in, well, not only your own ability to get past, you've got to be side by side. Joshua Vedega was probably close enough for ascend there, but he would have had to put a lot of trust in McDonald's, to get out of the way, essentially.
Just no. Absolutely not. He barely had the nose sticking in there. There was no way he was going for ascend. If he went for ascend, there was going to be contact, there was going to be death, and there was going to be a penalty for Joshua Vedega.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I said, you'd have to essentially trust the person in front to get out of the way. Which yeah, if you're driving a car and you don't want to be overtaken, you don't do that.
And McDonald is not going to leave a lot of room. He's going to leave enough room for good racing, but generally he's not going to leave you an acre.
No, that's right. The Ferrari here has got great brakes. It's always excellent in the braking zones, and I think this is just giving McDonald the ability to stay ahead. He's so good on the brakes at the moment. And of course, McDonald's a great defender. I've driven behind this man, tried to overtake him many times. Never done so successfully.
Porsche's also pretty good on the brakes. That was an awkward spot to get right on the back of McDonald, but now has a really good run and might be able to get alongside a little better. Might be able to compromise the line of McDonald here, actually, and try and get the run out of the bus stop. But McDonald actually executed that really well.
Oh, you got to give hats off to McDonald. I mean, that's a super compromised line that he had. Joshua Vedega playing mind games at the moment. But McDonald, that's stunning stuff. Usually, even the new Ferrari, the 296, is not really the best over those bumps, but it handled it really nicely there.
Yeah, it did really well. McDonald has that car set up nicely, but Vedega is right there. Sticks the nose up the inside. Maybe scares McDonald a little bit wide, but through the toe, that is okay because the exit speed can help there.
Certainly, and I do wonder who's got the hottest tires between these two. They've been doing all sorts of maneuvers out there.
Vedega, I would say.
I would probably say so. Just give him a little bit of counter steering.
Yeah,
you can see there.
Yeah, he's starting to struggle a little bit with the temps, I would say. And he's also right in the thick of it when it comes to the dirty air from that Ferrari in front.
Yeah, unfortunately for Vedega, it is kind of now or never. There's only 5.5 minutes left on the clock. So that means there's about, what did you say, about 4, maybe 5 laps left in this race.
Yeah, well, it'll be about 4...
Yeah, you see what I mean? It's just in that sweet spot of can't figure it out.
It's right on that crossover point, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4. Let's split the difference here and say 4 laps remaining. Nonetheless, he's got essentially...
Yes,
4 laps? Okay, good. Yeah, Vedega's got to find a way now. He's not going to be close enough for a move now. McDonald did get a pretty good run through turns 2 and 3. Up the Serpentine Hill he goes. Again, nowhere near being side by side. He's just got to stick in the mirrors and kind of just tease McDonald. But again, I've tried that many a time in McDonald. He's immune to such psychological warfare from what I can tell. So maybe Joshua he'll have to do it out on track and maybe hope for a mistake from McDonald.
Yeah. Tom has a really good, strong mentality about him. He can't really be forced into mistakes very easily. You sort of have to force the issue out of him. But these two are both catching Ashwin Reynolds, who has really struggled for pace in this final stint. Ty is 4 seconds clear of Reynolds, and the gap is now 1.3 seconds. And there's blue flags ahead.
All fun. Here we go. Yep. So split blue with some blue flag fun towards the end of this race. And you're right, Reynolds he's really has fallen back. The gap is definitely a lot smaller than it was. His last lap, 44.7. Tom McDonald and Vediger both running about a tenth or so faster per lap at the moment. So Joshua Vediger is giving McDonald a hurry up, and McDonald is answering, but that is bringing Reynolds closer and closer. I'd love to see a three-way battle at the end of this race.
Yes, so the blue flags also means someone is sending it faster than you. You must move out of the way.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, the appropriate lingo right there. I love it. Absolutely love it. Again, Vediger does back out of it. He wants to try and set up this run. I think...
Oh, that's wide. That is very wide. That's going to compromise the run from McDonald. And now Vediger is right in the slipstream, going up the hill. And it looks like he's going to catch McDonald at the perfect opportunity to get a slingshot out of the corner. He's going to just hold there for now. Now, what's the side draft looking like? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to force too much. What's McDonald's line? He did pretty well last time, and it's done very well again there. Vediger's just not quite able to get the right line through there. Excuse me.
No, I mean, he almost timed that overtake perfectly with the overspeed. If he had just been a little bit closer, maybe. Obviously, McDonald hugging the what is essentially the outside line down the back straight. So you run in the marbles, you feel good doing so, and it really means that there's that wall of air that you hit on the outside is absolutely massive. Another car jumping out of the way. I think that's Hayden Marsh in the 296. Yes, that is the 27 car, getting nicely out of the way at the toe. This battle will continue. Oh, McDonald going defensive. He's a bit scared of the send now. And oh, side by side. Oh, Joshua Vediger.
Yep, that was
oh,
inevitable.
No.
That was inevitable.
Yeah.
When Vediger was going for that little gap there, McDonald wasn't leaving a lot of room, but he was leaving just enough there. But I think it may have just been a little bit ambitious.
Yeah. Again, we talked about this earlier. There's only one way to overtake into the heel, and that is you are side by side, equal. You have to force the driver on the outside to be the one to move out the way, essentially.
Yep.
And yeah, Joshua Vediger was shown a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a door, a little bit of a battle going on here between Falconer and Marsh. Falconer trying to make the move.
Oh, there's more contact.
Yep, that's a bit of a deja vu moment from what we saw at the heel between Vediger and McDonald. But yeah, as we said, the only way Joshua was going to make that work, unfortunately, was going to be side by side into the braking zone, and he wasn't quite there.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that's the way things go sometimes. Meanwhile, I've got a fight for the silver class lead in this race between Jeremy Washington and Raiden Shogun.
Oh, let's go. Here we go. Mercedes versus Aston Martin. Two fantastic liveries, some of my favorite on the grid. Shogun is going to have a bit of a slipstream. There's a little bit of a look, but there's nothing in that. Of course, Washington. Wow, look how quick the Mercedes in. What?
Oh, but may have just gone a little too deep almost. But
yeah,
really pushing it is Raiden.
Yeah, certainly is. This is going to be a great battle to watch towards the end. Probably in fact, this is the closest battle out on track right now in terms of a significant position in the categories. Can Jeremy Washington hold on?
That's going to be the big question. Currently, Jeremy Washington is P3 in the overall standings. That will not be the case by the end of this one. McDonald will jump him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. McDonald's had a brilliant race, up 4 positions. Washington as well, not a bad race as well. He's only lost 1 position overall. Of course, he does have all those pro drivers ahead of him today. And Herod's not actually that far up the road either, so nearly holding on to his P7 overall. Not the best result, unfortunately, for Jeremy Washington, but, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. 19 seconds left on the clock. They will go for 1 more lap.
Yeah, so Shady Samuel, our race leader, is on the final lap now. This has been brilliant racing from Shady Samuel. He's just been so fast. Yeah,
clean, calculated. You know, getting that overtake done early on the race was absolutely key for this race today for Shady. And then he's just executed it very, very well. No penalties, no major mistakes out there at all. He has lost a little bit of time at the end of this last stint to Stephen Tai. but it's not significant. 7.5 seconds up the road. You know, he can't even see Steven in his rearview mirror right now.
You know, he's doing really, really nicely, and he's going to pretty much completely run away with this one. 7.5 seconds up the road, but yeah, you'll have one more sector to negotiate, but Shady Samuel will take out this one, you would think.
You'd think so, and it's been a pretty good evening for this man right here. Last few corners he is navigating. He's taken fastest lap as it stands right now. Pole position, so P1 in terms of this race. He did miss out on qualifying pole. It was very, very close, but so not a perfect weekend, I should say, or perfect evening for Shady Samuel. But, you know, you'll take fastest lap. You'll take the points. For the race win, of course, as well, into the war. Bravely into turn 10. Maximum send from this man. And the number 5 McLaren. And across the line, finishing out round 3 at Watkins Glen for the Sprint Series here at Split Blue. What a race from this man. Calculated, cool, calm, and collected. And then across the line in P2, it is Stephen Ty, who's actually run a very nice race as well.
Yeah, Stephen Ty can be very happy with that. Execute the strategy pretty well. Ashwin Reynolds there in P3, and Tom McDonald, hats off to you. 1.9 seconds off of Reynolds. Did very, very well up 4 positions.
Yes, and Vediger, that last charge at the heel.
Oh, Washington got Herod.
Oh, wow, okay. Washington, so, hey, I did a reverse curse there, so I don't know what's happened with Herod, but...
oh, and he's not happy.
That's what's happened with Herod.
Yeah,
there.
he is not happy with himself.
No, not at all. Yes, the traditional send-off of I had a bad race. That's unfortunate to see. Another final battle here. Scarney and Lewis and Macbeth. And looks like that's going to be, as it stands out on track, Scarney P12, Steve Lewis P13, P14 to Macbeth. And then Aaron Lee and such having a little bit of a battle down here with Bub now. But yes, it will be so Joshua Vediger, P5, unfortunate contact with McDonald late in this race. Nearly had P4 back, but did qualify on pole. So not a great evening, unfortunately, for Joshua Vediger. Then Hignett in P6. And as he said, Washington, yeah, great job there.
Yeah, not too sure what happened to Herod, but I'm guessing he made a little bit of a mistake somewhere towards the end. And yeah, just unfortunate for him as we watch Kieran Reid cross the line, and he will be the last driver to cross the line. And that is your race there for Split Blue at Watkins Glen.
Beautiful. Every time we come to Watkins Glen, it's a lot of fun, especially with the new Bob. Really spices things up. Great race out there. It really did rely eventually on your consistency. Shady Samuel takes P1 in the pro category. Stephen Ty, P2, and Reynolds, P3 in pro category. For Pro-Am class, it is Kwan who takes, I think, his first victory in Pro-Am class this season, followed by our Pro-Am points leader in Lewis and Apreciado in P3. In the Am class, we have Hayden Marsh takes a victory in Am class, Stratford, and then, of course, a DSQ for car 22. Silver class, we had Jeremy Washington, of course, leading in the silver class and now taking more points home in the race. Shogun in P2 and Eric Scarney, hashtag Scarney for Pro, in P3 for silver class. A great race overall, Alexis. You know, both you and me were talking earlier. Watkins Glen, a lot of fun. We love to watch it. We love to race it. And with everything going on in the situation here, 2 pit stops, and we had a great race. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great fun. The strategies really made a difference in the end, and pit stops, there were quite a few of them for the drivers had to negotiate, and that made a lot of difference, especially towards the upper end. Joshua Vediger having a few issues there with his pit stops, and then later on having that slight contact with McDonald. So a few issues there, but generally very well organized by these drivers in Split Blue.
Absolutely. So everyone, please do stay tuned. Of course, we'll be back for round 3 of Watkins Glen with Split Red in short order here at Octane Online Racing. Of course, just remember, if you're an OOR Patreon, you do get 5% off at simrigs.com. But we are going to hand it over to the very capable hands of Leo Dreyer and Neil Haynes. We'll go on a short break before we do that, and then we'll be joining back in for Split Red. But my name is George Cook. I've been joined in the commentary box by Alexis Bowen. Alexis, thank you so much, mate. Pleasure as always.
Thank you, George. That was fantastic. Love every bit of it.
Indeed. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mo. And thank you, everyone, in chat as well. Enjoy Split Red.
Good evening, Neil. How are you?
Yeah, good, Leo.
I'm really looking forward to for a change, watch the split blood and not take part in it. So I'm doing it this time with a beer in my hand. So apologies to the chat. Hopefully it all goes all right.
Yeah, no, okay. So I think we're live at the moment. Is that correct? Okay, yes, we're correct. So welcome to Sprint Series of the Red Split. I'm your host with Neil Haynes and also Leo Dwyer. Welcome.
Thank you, Neil. Looking forward to it. Should be good. Two Neils next to me today, so I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, we got Neil obviously in the cameras for us tonight, and it looks like they're just ending practice here for the Red Split, and we'll be going into qualifying very shortly.
Yeah, should be a good qualifying. Just having a look at some of the previous races, it was all very, very tight at the top. So should be another good one. We got a couple of fast races in here. You know, the typical Cooley and Tang, and should be a really good battle at the top. But should be a good one. It's dry,
Yeah.
so that helps.
It sure does, and looks like we've got obviously a race control. Dylan Sue already has a qualifying ban penalty from probably from the previous round, but we've got Chris Cooley obviously leading the championship over Chris Sang. He's got a 63-point lead at the moment. So then Lucas Keys again in the Aston in third position. Then we got Ben Vintinia in fourth and Rashuti in fifth position in that Lamborghini. And we've got Chris Murphy, a Pro-Am driver, actually in sixth position in the Porsche as well, with Justin Doe just behind him in the BMW. So it should be very interesting as we look at Jacob Maggs in the Honda, I think it is.
I think it's a McLaren, but it's got
it's a McLaren, sorry. Yeah, sorry, it sure is.
That's all right. I saw the performance looks really good around Watkins Glen, you know, in terms of balance of performance. It's probably the only track they've got right. So I saw in the previous qualifying, I think the top 7 was all 7 different manufacturers. So that's good to see.
Yeah, so you could have just seen that list there that we just had there with the split red for the Simrigs Sprint Series. And you can see the BOP that we've got in place here at OOR. So you can see that the Porsche's also, I think, got a 20 kilo reduction as well. So we might see some of the Porsches come into effect at this race here around Watkins Glen as well. So we'll wait to see what the likes of Murphy and Tonkin have in store for us.
Yeah, should be a really close battle, I reckon, at the top. I saw some of the practice times being laid down, and it was the 2 Aston Martins, Cooley and Tang, and I think Keys as well, having a really good run in practice. So we're on board here with Jacob Maggs. He's always a regular in Split Blood, and also another rapid driver. So the McLaren is genuinely pretty good everywhere. Jacob, I think, used to run in the Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken. But he's running this season in the McLaren and doing a fairly good job.
Yeah, he's been going pretty good. He's been struggling. He's about 13th or so in the standings, I think it was. But yeah, he came 13th, I think it was, at Imola, the first round, and then back at Zolder, he was a top 10 actually. He just sneaked in for a top 10 result last week. So let's see if he can keep climbing up the order and maybe get a top 6 or so tonight. And the McLarens are pretty good around here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's got really good traction, but also a bit of top speed. There's a bit of straight, obviously, as you climb up the hill on the back straight towards the inner loop. So it always seems to stretch its legs there. But it's also pretty good in, I suppose, some of these longer turning, you know, getting the car around. It seems to be pretty. So it's just genuinely a good car at the moment, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he's got Stefano just behind him as well, following in that Lamborghini as well.
This first corner sometimes can be quite tricky to get right, to get your braking point just right, because you're hanging it out on the outside of that curb. As we just switch over there. He's just gone over the line with 144.1. I'm sure we're going to get into the 43s, low 43s, I would suggest. So times will still tumble.
And we'll be looking forward to having a look also at Crick's, Mike Crick's Nissan. Each round he's been doing a retro livery in that Nissan,
Oh,
in the number
fantastic.
87. So obviously we will see him during the weekend. I mean, the night, and here he is. Talking about Mike, here he is here. Look at this, the livery here of the Pennzoil.
That is just a work of art, man. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, so we saw the, I'm trying to think of the Nissan we had. The first round we had the Australian touring car version, I think, of the old red and white and blue. And last week, trying to think which of the Nissan we had there, but it was another big retro version of the Nissan. And this one here's looking very bright and yellow.
That yellow Nissan looks almost like the one Burrs used to run last season all the time with the old GTR. So really love the yellow on their GTR. Really great livery.
So 10 minutes remaining here of qualifying at this stage, and we're just seeing, it's extending the track limits. Mike Cricket at the moment down in 23rd, trying to set a time. That would probably be invalidated. One would think there, Leo. He was pretty wide.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the problem with qualifying is it doesn't matter if you lift your accelerator. If you go over the line, it's invalidated. So he'll have to go for another run. Hopefully he's got fuel. There's still a lot of time on the clock. Still 9 minutes or so to go. So as we see at the top, we got Tang, Cooley, Keys, Mags, and Lai at the moment. So yeah, Cooley and Keys, I thought they were going to be quite tight, but Tang at the moment on a really good lap there for the pole. Time at the moment, but there's a lot of time in this. We can look here at Lai's up half a second already, coming through the last corner here, turn 11. Got so close to the barrier there. Okay, didn't lose any time. That's fantastic. Puts it in P3, 43.6.
Yeah, sensational time, and he's just dropping there, I think, as Tonkin goes up as well. So up into position 3, swaps there in the Lamborghini.
And Cooley's just done a 43.2. He's still running the pup. I'm not sure what he calls his livery, to be honest. With all the dogs on it, I'm sure it's got a name. I've seen it on track, normally just quickly, and then it just skids off very quickly.
And there it goes there. So
in typical Cooley fashion.
Yeah, definitely. He's finally got the livery going. He's been running, I think, some default liveries recently, but he's over through the bus stop and clouts this Armco railing, so he'll reset here. He's got 8 minutes remaining to
it's very tight at the top,
only
0.88 in there, so really tight at the top. So I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that to see if Tang can do anything. But Tonkin with a really good lap in the Lambo as well. I'm really surprised that I shouldn't say surprised. He's a really fast driver, but yeah, doing really well.
Yeah, and this, I think we just saw David Barker as well. I think he had a disconnect or some problem last round as well. So he'll be looking forward to, obviously, a better run this week in that Ferrari. But Chris Murphy, here we go in that Ansett livery Porsche. We were commenting how good that looked last week. Me and Sean Muller. So Sean, obviously not here tonight, but we've got Leo joining us. So that's a good welcome to Leo. And we've got 7 minutes before we've got to raise our voices for the race, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of excitement for this 60-minute race coming up very shortly.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on the chat as well. So guys, take it easy on me. I wouldn't say I'm a noob, but it's kind of a debut for me in the com box. So hopefully it all goes well. Just something I spotted, which is really interesting, is that Tonkin and the Lambo's actually got the fastest third sector at the moment. So the Lambo seems to be working really well in that third sector of the lap.
Yeah, it's very busy at this stage of the circuit as well. You can see on the mini map there on your left-hand side of the screen. And we're just looking at Murphy, seeing if he can thread the needle through here. And if he can get up the order.
Got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Pro-Am right up there, man. Finding P6 or 0.6 of already on a good lap. So streets ahead of Mike Reel there next in 11 at the moment for the Pro-Am class. Mike is no slouch either. So he's obviously taken the Bentley this season, which is really good to see that we can get some of the old cars back and on track, because since 1.8 even launched, some of these older cars just were not competitive. So it's so good to see some of them back out there.
Yeah, the BOP has definitely worked here at OOR, and it's a great credit to all involved to introduce this, because as you just said, look at the leaderboard. We've got a mixture of cars, and it's been like that for the first 2 rounds, and it looks like it's not going to change this round either, as we're just having a look at this Porsche here to see if he goes up the order. I think this is just oh no, he's pulling it over there. He's still in 12th position.
Yeah, with 5 minutes on the clock, you've got time to get out and probably still get 2 really good hot laps in. So yeah, reset, I suppose, and go again.
Yeah, so it looks like Rochford here is just a little bit up on his time. It might see him go up the order, maybe up to 17th or 16th on the grid at this stage, if he can keep this Lamborghini on track for the final corner. We've already seen a few cars pushing the boundaries, almost out on the wall, and he's done that, so he's getting maximum speed out of the final corner, and he will go up to 13th, so that's a great result for Rochford.
Picking up Max here is a quarter or 3/10 up already on his lap, keeping it out there, hanging it out. On this track, sometimes it's so difficult to keep the time up on the board, because you can eke it out, but you could so quickly lose it as well. So to run over those curbs, you got to sometimes just hang on. But he's up here a quarter of a second already, which is really good. Let's see if he can hold it coming through the toe there. Yep, he actually gained more time, so there was more time to find there. So looking like a really good lap. I think if he ends this lap with another 0.3, he'll probably go up to, I would suggest, probably 6th.
Yeah, good
maybe.
possibility.
Yeah. He's found more time.
Yeah, enjoying this onboard footage here. We've got 4 minutes remaining of qualifying on board the McLaren here of Mags. And let's see if he can keep into it here, get these last 2 corners correct. He's really pushing. He's lost a little bit of a time there.
Oh, lost more time through the last corner.
Just scrubbing it out a bit. He got a good little exit there, but that's going to put him up into 5th position. So that's a good result. And see if he's going to stay into that. And we're just picking up now Vintinia.
Is it Vintina? I never know, because I think there's 2 of them, right? There's brothers, I think, or cousins. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not very good with my English, to be honest, but yeah, it is Vintinia. I think it is.
Don't ask a Safa, man. I'll butcher it as well.
But yeah, he's obviously going well here, and he looks like he's just lost
had a big slide.
Time.
He had a massive slide, yeah, and unfortunately lost most of that time. He still looks like he can find more time, so he's probably not had an optimal lap just yet. So it'll be interesting to see running in the Merc.
Yeah, he absolutely loves Older last week. Got on the podium in 3rd position last week. The Mercedes just eating up those curbs. But this latter circuit, he's just finding it a little bit tough here at the moment. But as you said, that big slide cost him. And maybe he might get another run here if he's got enough fuel. There's one of the cars coming in the right way in pit lane. He was pointing the wrong way.
So Tawfiq is another driver I rate really. He's always consistent. He's obviously probably not one of the aliens right at the top, but he is for sure somebody that's always very fair on track as well. So really good racer to have next to you. As we see, there's a 2-place grid penalty there for Chris Murphy, overtaking on a hot lap. So obviously an OOR, that's something you're not allowed to do. I've been pinged for that as well, and that's how I learned now to do it. So never a good idea. If somebody's on a hot lap, you're not allowed to overtake them. So a bit naughty there.
Yes, it's a car up to P5, and he's been following Rashidi most of the first opening rounds as well. So he's pretty much I think he came just behind Rashidi last week, actually, from memory.
Yeah, he's loving the Ferrari, obviously. He's been driving it, I think, all season and all the different races, even last season, I think. So has probably found the sweet spot with the setup and, doing really well in that. But yeah, half a second up here for Ben. So he'll be really happy with that. Seems like he didn't get the slide this time. And yeah, this will propel him up the leaderboard for sure.
Yeah, but never too late here. It all gets a little wobble, but the Porsche's out of the way for him.
So
All
0.5
close.
will definitely vault him up probably 2 or 3 positions. Probably put him close to Taylor and Barker, I would suggest.
Yeah, into the top 10. And there he
Just
goes, right
well
on the
done.
10th position. So nice run there.
As there's only less than a minute left in qualifying, so those on a hot lap now will be the ones completing it, and there'll probably be just a few more scraping through for one last hot lap. Chris Cooley doing a 43.2. That is really rapid pace.
Yeah, he's been the pace man all season long, Cooley, and I'm sure this is going to be another ding-dong battle between him and Sang, and in the BMW.
Yes, Keys is
Almost
trying
the
to find
checkered
some time.
flag is almost out, as all the drivers are pretty much on their last lap now. I think that's about it. So we'll just see the last few cars coming through. Some are just starting a lap.
Taylor here on a really good lap as well. He's got 2/10 in there, so definitely just found another 10th. Let's see if he can keep it through this very, very tricky left-hander. He did. Yep, so he's up about 3/10, so we'll probably be able to get another 1 or 2 positions here.
Yeah, just following Mike in front of him in that Nissan.
Just lost a little bit of time through that last section there, but still up. And P10, unfortunately, he's improved to time, but stayed in 10th, so probably
And here we
maximised
go.
it.
He's Ben to see if he can actually get himself back into the 10. I think he will. He do more than that. I think he'll go all the way up to maybe 9th or 8th position. 7th, actually.
Get in there, Ben. That was a great lap for the Merc, and that's fantastic. If you look at the manufacturers at the top again, there's only a McLaren in there twice, and a Ferrari up to 8th. But yeah, there's 6 different manufacturers in the top 8, which is really good.
And we've got the Bentley of Real just in 12th position as well. So it's good to see the Bentley there. And here we go. We're on the grid, ready for this 1 hour race for the Sprint Series for the Simrigs. Make sure you visit Simrigs for all your specials on your hardware. Don't forget to mention OOR for your nice juicy discount at Simrigs. So it's an hour race with the 2 mandatory pit stops, Leo. So what's the go? You think they'll split it in, around about the 20-minute mark that they may come in, and then the 40-minute mark? Or do you think we've seen a couple of guys try and do a longer stint and then a shorter second part of the race as well?
Yeah, I think it always depends on where you start, I suppose. I think sometimes when you're at the back, you might want to come in a bit earlier, get rid of some traffic that you might find if you didn't qualify in your optimal position. But it could be weather dependent. So let's say if you look at the weather radar now, and if let's say there's rain forecast, that you might do a shorter stint as well. But otherwise, I suggest that 20-minute stints will probably be the optimal strategy for a dry race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. So we've obviously got Cooley on pole position, and it looks like just beside him is Sang.
Tang, Tang, and then we've got Mags, Tonkin, Lai, Barker, Ben, and then Tawfiq 8. Lucas Keys is in P9. He probably would have wanted to be up a little bit higher. And then Chris Murphy with a Pro-Am in 10th, rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, that's a nice one for Chris also, just being in that top 10. But obviously Lucas Keys wants a good result if he can in that Aston Martin. We've seen him running 1-2 for quite a while in some of the races, and then he has a few little issues like he did at Zolder last week. But the boys here, they're into it for this round 3. They're going to have a week off break after this as well, because we're going to the Spa 24-hour the following weekend. So they all get a week off. So they're going to obviously be very keen to get the most out of this race. And here we go. You can actually see on the right-hand side the BOP. So the yellow is obviously increased on the weight, and the whites are the minus. So you can actually see minus 40 kilos for the Bentley of Real there in 12th position. And then the Porsches have a 20 kilo reduction as well. So This is the reason why I think you've obviously seen a lot of these manufacturers come back as well, and the added weight for some of the other cars, like the McLaren has got 11 kilos, and the Ferrari 10 kilos. So it's really brought the manufacturers back into the race, which is great.
Yeah, that's right. There's a couple of pro drivers down the back, 15th, 16th as well. So maybe watch out for them throughout the race to come through. I would suggest Rashudi is probably not in his optimal position as well. He tends to be also quite quick. So the guys are just off on their warm-up lap now, trying to get some heat into the tires and get the brakes warmed up. So I don't know what happened in the previous race. I missed, unfortunately, the start. Was it clean all the way through the inner and the outer loop, the bus stop? Was it? Are we going to see split blood things, or what do we reckon?
I'm not too sure about split red, but I know what's about split red, but I don't know what happened the previous split. Sorry, so I didn't quite catch that. But I'm sure it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of runoff there, the first corner, so some cars do run wide, but I think these guys should get through. They've been pretty good in the last couple of weeks. There's only been a few incidents on the opening lap, so the drivers are sort of know one another and doing a good job.
It's one of the key hallmarks of this OOR championship in general. Doesn't matter which series you enter for, there's always genuine, it's obviously well organized, but at the end of the day, you've just got some really respectful races out, and everybody's racing up and down the field. There's even a race normally for the last, and it's all respectful, even though it's hard racing, which is something that's a great part of this community. So it is a difficult track, I suppose, whilst you've got a lot of width in the track, because of the nature of it, with some of those swooping lefts and rights, the track can quickly change, and so you can actually get a lot of really nice, I suppose, racing, panel rubbing type racing at Watkins Glen. In my experience, especially if it's dry, it can actually be a really good track for racing.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun track, that's for sure, and plenty of overtaking opportunities, like you said. So got Thistlethwaite there in 18th position in the Nissan, the first of the Nissans. Obviously, we got Crick down at the back of the grid, but there's Rashudi, not in a normal position where he'd like to be. Stuck down there in 15th position, so he's got a lot of work to do here, Leo. So it would be interesting to see how he starts and gets through these first opening laps. But here we go. We're just getting ourselves sorted as they're all lining up. There's 2 more corners to go before we're going to hit green.
It's Kani in the chat, obviously saying go Cooley, or Kekkers, I suppose, as he's probably known. He's obviously had a fantastic, he actually rubbed it in there as well for P1. It wasn't even necessary, and he improved even more. So let's see if he can pull it off on the race.
Yeah, let's have a look here. But I know Sang's going to be wanting to see if he can get the most out of this run.
You can take us away, Neil.
So here we go. We're just waiting for them all to line up as they're all waiting for the green. And we should be about go as they're going all the way to the line. There's the green flag and they're off. And we've got, looks like Sang has maybe got the jump here, but he's going to have to get around the outside of Cooley, and it's going to be tight, and Cooley.
Very brave. Oh, keep it up.
Side by side, but it looks like,
racing.
Yeah, Sang's going to keep it around the outside because it gives him a good run up the hill here. And we're looking at now Tonkin, who's just following Mags up the hill, and they're all darting.
Oh, that's right, he got out of shape.
And 2 by 2 as they come down the long straight here before they come into the bus stop. Now, this is going to be the interesting part here, as Stang's still got the run here, and he's squeezing.
Trying to give each other space there, but it's so difficult through that inner and outer loop. And Cooley gets the position back. That was really well fought, and obviously Tang didn't want to make contact, so he compromised his line there. As we see a McLaren of Lai down in 10th. I think he started in 4th, so
yeah,
lots of yellows at the back. Don't know what happened
there.
there.
There's been a little bit going on there into the bus stop, as it looks like a replay here. Just trying to see what goes on. Oh, there's one car out wide, and then we've also got the
that's just unfortunate.
Nice Pennzoil livery of the Nissans of Crick had nowhere to go.
T-boned that McLaren well and truly. So those boys will have a long race. I will almost guess that they'll come in early.
Yeah, so we're just having a look here now. Curley, he's got himself back in front of Sang, but Mags as well is right there, ready to pounce as well as they go too wide.
Great battle pack here for 4th and 5th.
And Keys in that Aston Martin just
And-
in front of Vintinia.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's
Had a
Barker
brush
and
on the wall. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, it is Barker, you're right. So here we go, looking for a move down into turn 1. Vintinia, it's going to do it. I think there's a car there just on the exit. Oh, no, that's the Ansett. Porsche, we go for the replay. So,
Oh, it's the same McLaren. Unfortunate. Oh, goodness. That's unfortunate. Nowhere to go in that position. I mean, you know, you're fully committed coming around that corner. You're flat on the accelerator. So, yeah, that's unfortunate.
So that's really strung out a few of the contenders early on, getting involved in some incidents here. As one of the cars just running wide around the outside.
Yeah, I think it's Murphy that got caught up in some of that as well. He qualified really well up, P10 of the Pro-Am. He's all the way down now with Lai, so with a long race ahead of them, but let's see where they can end up towards the end.
Murphy's in that Ansett livery Porsche that we saw that had nowhere to go and T-Bone. But now we're looking at Justin Doe in the BMW. And he's coming under quite a bit of pressure here from Maddleford in the actual Honda as we just jump on board with Justin Doe.
I used to race against Maddleford actually before we all came to PC when we were all on PlayStation. And he was one of the faster guys in one of the leagues called KRL. So yeah, he's a very, very good racer as well. So he'll be keen to do well. In the Honda, that's an interesting choice.
That's the old Kid Buyers Racing League, I believe. Yeah, good,
Yeah, that's
fella,
right.
good grip
Yeah,
back in the
100%.
day. But Chris Curley, fastest lap here with a 1:43.8. Not too far off his qualifying pole lap either. But here we go as we're still looking at Justin Doe. And he's holding off Maddleford in that Honda. It's good to see a Honda up on the grid. Oh, look just behind him there, Sanakis, I think, is... they just ran wide. They went 2x2 into turn 1. And look at these two splitting them as they go up the hill.
3 wide through that section. Fantastic racing, not making contact there.
Yeah,
Now it's all about
Hatama's doing a
slipstreaming.
good job in 18th position. And he's going to see if he can hold on here. The two Ferraris, 2x2.
Bum drafting doesn't work in this game that well.
Yeah, I think Ferrari and Lamborghini. Sorry, I had that wrong there. As White Ashley's having a little bit of a problem.
Looks like a massive battle for P6 as well. Barker and I think there was somebody with him just a second ago and they dropped back. I'm not too sure what happened there. Really close battles all throughout the field. Don't know where to watch. Love it. Great racing.
Yeah, definitely. We saw the Bentley having a look down the inside here with Real. He's looking, but he's Rashuti. He's on the dirty side of the circuit. That's going to be a risky move as Real's
That was
trying to
almost
have
half a
look down the
move. He was
inside.
like hanging it there and hoping that the Aston didn't turn in on him.
How's this for a Wednesday late night racing? I hope you're enjoying this, guys. The coverage here at OOR for the Simrigs Sprint Series.
So
Round
Rashuti going to
3
try
at
and keep
Watkins,
it on the
Glen.
inside. Oh no! I was going to say the two cars normally don't go through there side by side, so Rashuti just hanging back to fight another day as the Bentley comes all sideways out of that last corner. Fantastic. Some wall rubbing at the back as well there from that. I think it's a GTR, the red GTR there. So that's Thistleweight.
Thistleweight, exactly. And talk about fighting back. Sang's fighting back with the fastest lap that previous lap. So we're only on the 3rd lap and we've seen them trade in places, him and Curley, for the fastest lap. And Sang means business here for round 3. He's sick of seeing the back of Curley's Aston Martin. He wants to see the BMW on top. He's going to do everything he can to unsettle Curley this round. You can just see that Sang is really setting himself up here for a good race.
Oh, this battle is... Oh, no!
No, that's a lazy little bump, unfortunately, from Vintinia.
I think it went
this is a
sideways, though.
restart.
Did the Lambo go sideways just a bit on his own first? Yep, I think he lost it a little bit, and then, Yeah, he was actually a passenger there a little bit, but
Yeah, when a car's fully loaded up, you only have to use your pinky, basically, don't you, Leo? And away you go. So here we got some penalties coming out here. Ash White has got a 15-second penalty.
yeah, for some of those incidents on the first lap, all those yellow flags.
Yeah, Pierre Lowe as well getting one. But we're looking at Rodatori in the Lamborghini. And there's there's quite a few Lamborghinis in the grid here tonight. It's good to see.
Yeah, the Lambo was obviously fantastic when it just came to the I think the latest edition of it. It was quite OP at that stage, and as you said, this battle for first is going to probably just go. Cooley fights back 43.4. That's almost qualifying pace. That's fantastic. I don't know how much fuel they've got on board, but you would you'll take that any time of the day doing that in a race. So this battle will probably go to the end. It will be interesting to see what these guys will do for pit stop. So Tang being in P2, I'm not sure if he might come in a bit earlier to try and do the undercut. I don't know if that's been successful in some of the other races.
Yeah, it could be, but it looks like Keys here's got maybe a run. Oh, so close coming up the hill. He's going to try and see if he's going to have enough momentum into the bus stop. It's very hard to be committed through this corner to make a move.
He held back there. That was really good because yeah, you can't if you don't have proper overlap there, you wouldn't be able to put it next to him. So he just hang backed a little bit. So great racing. That Aston seems like it had a little bit of legs on the Merc, not too much, but was definitely catching it towards the end. Ben doing a really good job here. So this silver battle, second silver. So obviously Cooley being silver. I'm not sure how that works in this specific edition of the sprint, but he's leading as a silver. And then we've got Tang, Mags, Tofik, and Barker as the next 4 pros. And then this battle here is the next. There's another penalty comes through there for Ahmad Jasmine. I don't know if I've pronounced that properly, for a collision on lap 3. So I'm not sure if we saw that incident.
Yeah, we might have seen it somewhere on one of those replays. There was quite a bit going on there in the background in some of those ones for the first lap. But here we go, looking at Keys, seeing if he can get an opening or create an opening here of the Mercedes in front of him.
It looks like Cooley has just kind of got a little bit away from Tang that last couple of laps. I think he's up to almost 0.6 or 0.8 in front, so stretching his legs a little bit at the front there. As we're still on board here with Lucas Keys trying to reel in Vinton, and let's see if he can do it on this lap.
Yeah, he's a little bit far behind here at this stage, but also it looks like we've got Murphy just in front. He'd be a lap down at the moment from that incident we saw early in the race, which is unfortunate for the Porsche driver. But he's got the pace as well to be mixing it with these guys, so he will be under blue flags, but at the moment he's well and truly in front of these guys.
Those 3 cars behind, I was just going to say, having a really good battle, and Rashudi is still in the middle of this. I think he was behind them a couple of laps ago, so I wonder if he's picked up that one place. And he's sitting now behind Mike Reel in the Bentley. And we're on board here with Taylor and the Ferrari coming through the toe. As Rashudi ran a little bit wide there, got onto the grass. Don't cost you too much in the game, I think. Well, if you do that on the braking, that won't help.
No, that could end in tears, definitely. And obviously getting a little bit distracted by the big Bentley in front, maybe. But almost thinking about a move. Does Chris? I think that was very close indeed.
It's always so difficult to get your braking points right when you're running so closely behind another car, because sometimes, depending on the field of view, everybody has that differently. But sometimes when you're running so close, I think the Bentley just hit the wall there right in front of Rashudi as he came through that last corner. So I wonder if these people will fix these minor bits of panel damage as they come into their pit stops. I'm not sure. Don't know how much that will cost them. That Bentley looks really loose. I've noticed on, I don't know if it's because it's dropped 40 Ks, and obviously that makes the car handle very differently, but it used to be very stable, unlike TC4. I don't know what reel is on there, but it's very loose for the Bentley.
As I say, Lucy's fast, and he's definitely really showing that tonight. But we're back here with Keys again. This is really spicing up. This looks like it's going to be a race-long battle between him and Vintinia.
They're also catching the guys in front of them, weirdly. So as we're on board here with Tonkin, Turcolini, and I think Rochford behind them. So that Lambo livery is just unbelievable. I do love that little. I think Rochford's. Is that one of the Kovacs cars? I think it's just such a good car.
Yeah, but old Tonkin's car behind here as we're on board. I think it is Turcolini, and I think that looking behind at Tonkin there with those pink wheels, that's probably, I think it's Sean Muller's favourite car out on the grid. He loves those pink wheels. So if you're watching Sean, I'm glad you can see those pink wheels and enjoying the number 69 Lamborghini of Tonkin.
So good to see all this mix of manufacturers. I know I've said it probably too many times already tonight, but it's, I think, what GT3 is meant to be. And, you know, when you look at the real life series, they always try and get some sort of parity in, and the game has struggled with it, genuinely speaking, ACC. So it's really good. As Rashudi's been giving a 10-second penalty there for, I think, that collision on lap 4.
Yeah, and we've got a few people in the pits already. So Tafik and also Real have already come in for pits. So I wonder if that's actually just mandatory stops. So the Bentley's in. The pit window is open. As we said, there is a mandatory stop for two stops for tyres. Fuel is optional.
Leaders, yeah.
But yeah, we're looking here. They've got some lap traffic at the moment, Leo. So the boys will be starting to think that maybe there might be an option to take a pit stop and get away from this lap traffic. But I know Cooley's really timed his pit stops to a T, the first opening 2 rounds. So I think Tang will be actually happy to just follow Cooley at this stage and just, you know, come into the pits as soon as Cooley comes in, just follow him. And or do you think that he might try and do a push lap and try?
There's only one back
there?
marker, so they might, if this is not optimal strategy, they might probably just try and get past this one back marker and then keep going. But we'll see. I mean, they're probably close. They're probably 2 or 3 laps from pitting anyway, but the back marker gets out of the way beautifully there, the blue flag, so letting the leaders past. So on they go. About 0.7 splitting these two, 0.4 at the moment. So not too far. Like every time I thought that Cooley got away, obviously the back marker cost him some time then because he caught him first. But this battle looks like will rage on as Keys comes into the pits with his army liveried. Don't know if that was the plan, but that's a really army type green.
It sure is, and Tonkin's in as well. So they're all coming in. So maybe it's a little bit hot. I don't think the track's any hotter than what it was at qualifying. And I was just, yeah, these guys really are on board. They don't need to really change their tyre pressures. They know what they need to do, I think. So I don't think that would be an option. I mean, a problem at the moment. I think they're just maybe just taking that opportunity to do the early stop and try and get a little bit out of traffic if they can.
Yeah, I don't know how far Keys were back, so it'll be interesting to see where he feeds back out. But I think Tonkin obviously that went for the stint. I think he was battling with Mike Real from memory, so it'll be interesting to see where they all feed back out. It's always difficult to know how much. That's not where you want to be.
Here goes a replay. Bang! They don't want to move those crash barriers.
They're not polystyrene. They do not move.
They're concrete filled and bolted down.
Thank goodness for him. His engine sits at the back. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get back to the pits. But yeah, there will be a lot of damage on that Fezzer.
Yeah, definitely. So back to the live action here, and we're looking at.
I was going to say, where's Cooley?
I was waiting to see. Oh, look at this. So he's gone straight ahead. You may think that might be some sort of disconnect or hardware.
I think that's hardware. It looked like it just went straight on. The disconnect, he might have sunk it into the earth, as it so often does. But that looked like it's maybe hardware. He's just still sitting there. Maybe that's so unfortunate.
And I think here we go. So we're on board here with Sang, who's now leading this race. So it looks like Cooley has either had a wheel disconnect or something's gone on there. But he's out of the race. So this is a big championship change here. So Sang is in the box seat here to take the lead of the championship at the end of this race, as long as he finishes this one. So he's obviously got a good lead now over Vintinia, but we do have some of the other drivers that did pit as well up the order. So these guys are yet to pit.
Yeah, I think sometimes like this, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of pressure from behind. You think it's easy to just sit there, and sometimes that can be the worst when you're not being pushed or you're not pushing. Yeah, unfortunately for Cooley, we still don't really know what's happened there. We'll tell you as soon as we know. But this is definitely given the advantage to Tang in the championship. So not good. I think Cooley is in the pits. I don't know if he's gone with a disconnect and gone back in, that he's now showing that he's in the pits, or if he just did a.
Yeah,
Not too
because he's
sure.
obviously got some points for the fastest lap too. So you want to still try and get as many points as you can, because you just never know what's going to happen for the next few rounds of this championship. I believe it's a 5-week
Yeah, it's a shorter one.
championship. So we've got Alton Park in a couple of weeks. As we said, next week is a week off for a lot of these drivers are preparing for the Spa 24-hour race, which is happening on the 9th and 10th of December. But it looks like Jasmine has just got a 10-second penalty.
That's a second penalty, I think, for that car. So not the best day out then. That will hurt. He's
So the
already
first
got
guys that have already had a one mandatory stop is Mags out in that McLaren back in 16th position, and then Tafuk that we did see up the order as well. So as you said, it'll be interesting to see where these guys end up popping.
Yeah, because there's a gaggle going in now. We've got Taylor and Doe and Vintner, and everyone's going in the pits at the moment. So it's going to get very busy. As Murphy gets a 10-second for ignoring blue flags.
Ooh, so that's maybe when, not too sure when that was. He was around, we were saying that he was up in front of, I think it was Vintinia and someone else, I think it might have been, when they were battling.
Yeah,
It seemed like it was a fair way in front, but maybe it was just something that happened afterwards as well. So here we go with Shooty. Oh, we're looking at Ahmad here.
Got the 20-second penalties hanging over his head, so obviously keen to get on with it. Really good move there. It looked like he got past him there.
Yeah, it does look like that. And just
there's a fight back. Oh, I haven't given up this fight. I don't know if this is for position though.
No, I'm just trying to think of the car behind. The number 64 of Rotori. So he's down in 26th position. So obviously he's actually had his one pit stop as well, I think it was. So maybe he's just, he's obviously in the race.
And this is where pitting early can sometimes really hurt you, because when you then drop all the positions, even if you've got pace on people, like in that case, it's not like it's a blue flag and they can make it easy. So you're now behind, and it makes it a bit more, make your race a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, and you've got to make sure if you are going to make that move, especially when those cars are basically a lap in front of you, you've got to make that really clean and be able to pull away, don't you? You don't want to be starting to hamper them, because as soon as you're in front of them, you're under a big blue flag, and if you're not pulling away with the OR rules, you need to yield within that lap. So so it is a risk. But here we got Rochford in third position, and he's really putting the pressure here on this Porsche in front of him. And Thurkalini is actually doing a good job up in that Porsche. He finished in 27th, 3 laps down last week, looking at the results from last week. So he's actually doing a good job. He's yet to make his mandatory stop.
Yeah, it's good to see Damien having a good day out. As we just look down the order as well, we're here with Mike Reel. I think he's come out actually behind Doe, and I'm not sure if he was behind them before the pit stops. From memory, I don't think he was. I think he was ahead, and he came in first, if I remember. So I think Mike Reel was one of the first to stop. So Doe there, the
Yeah.
Pro-Am, looks like he's taken the lead.
Yeah, both me and Sean were commenting how neat this Bentley looked last week. It's a very clean livery, a white car too. We don't see too many white cars around on the grid these days, and yeah, it's a nice fresh livery here on this Bentley for Mike.
Yeah, one of the guys in our team loves the white liveries as well. It's like a car has to be white.
And he's got the white wheels to boot as well. So there you go. This is as white as you can.
Yeah.
And Thistlewaite's doing a good job in 13th, just in front of this little battle too in the red Nissan. And he's trying to see if he can reel in Tonkin up in front of him. He's about 2.5 seconds away from Tonkin.
Mike's definitely got pace here. I think he's definitely caught up with Doe here now, so he'll be very keen to get on with it and get past him. Because there's obviously points not just for winning your category, but trying to get up as far as you can. And he looked like he's got really good speed in that Bentley compared to the Beamer in front of him. I don't know where he will find the way past. Hopefully he gets a good exit out of this first corner, but BMW goes defensive already, which will compromise his exit here. And
Oh, he's looking around the outside. We did see this happen in the opening part of the race with
that's
Tang. But here he goes. He's still hanging it around the outside. He's got the inside now up into the top part of the circuit. So it looks like he's got that job done. It's a nice move by Mike, but he's got to make sure he can defend from this BMW because the BMW's got good brakes here. And if he's going to be brave, I thought wiser. Exactly. Doesn't want to end in tears, especially when there's still 37 minutes actually remaining of this race.
That was a good move, Mike, because he obviously put him under pressure coming down the pit straight, and then that compromised exit, I think, is what gave him the overspeed so easily on that straight. So a really good move.
Yeah, you called it, Leo. You picked it up very early. You said the defensive move was going to compromise his exit, and that surely did. And it was a great job by Mike as well to get that done, as we said. But here we go now, looking at Thistlewaite in the leading Nissan.
That Nissan is a big car, but I think if it sits that closely in your mirror, it probably looks even bigger. So Rochford will be well aware of Thistlewaite in behind him. I think they've all now done their pit stops by the looks. I think there's probably the last couple only now that's done theirs now. So then most people will have done their first mandatory pit stop.
Yes, I was saying before that I think it was Tonkin was actually was in front of Thistlewaite, but Rochford's there. So I don't know if Rochford has made a mistake or maybe the leaderboard when I was looking at it wasn't quite correct, but he's running a little bit wide, Rochford in front. So he's going to be compromised on this run, but Thistlewaite's going to have to, he's trying to make the move. He's making his intentions clear and he's going to have this move done. That's a great move up the hill. Nice job by Cameron. And
another fantastic overtake. And obviously Mike will be rubbing his hands because looks like he's definitely caught this pair as they were battling. So he'll be hoping to do much of the same as the previous lap. As Keys and Vintner here is having a good old ding-dong battle the whole race so far. And not sure where Keys started, but I think they're pretty much roughly about where they were. Although obviously with Cooley dropping out, I don't know if he's still circulating. I think he is. So he must have had a disconnect there or some hardware failure and went back to the pits by the looks of things, as we don't really have info.
Not at the moment, no, but Lucas is obviously now the leading Aston, so it's all on his shoulders to see if he can try and get up onto the podium. He'll do everything he can. We know from previous races with Lucas. But I think he actually came, I think it was third, might have been, back in round 1 at Imola.
Oh, as he went a little bit wide there. It's such a difficult corner to get right every single lap. There's a bit of rubber banding going on there. I don't know if it's just on my screen, but he's got some good speed here and definitely moves on as they come into the inner and the outer loop. Let's see.
Oh, he's giving it a little
Oh.
bit of a bump here. Just a friendly hello. You know I'm here. I had the pace, but I'm not going to give it a
Oh.
go. Oh, is that unsettled Thistle? I mean, sorry, Vintinia.
That was almost naughty. Like, I know what he was trying to do, not to make the move, but it almost made it a little bit worse. And is he going for the inside there? No, not quite. He's all kinds of sideways in there at the moment. Keys.
Yeah,
Great
be
little
interesting.
battle.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting what the stewards will think about that little friendly bump before they were coming up into the bus stop, because that may have just got Vintinia a little bit ruffled.
Yeah,
and
he
not
let him
knowing
go
exactly
though,
what's
so he
going
didn't
on.
fight him and take the position. So maybe Ben would not have called that in, but I don't think there was necessarily malice in that. So, but yeah, luckily I'm not a steward, so
Yeah, it might have just been a little bit of friendly banter between the two, but it looks like Lucas has definitely got some pace over the Merc at this stage, and we got a little unit saying it's a crazy fight for P8 now on Twitch stream. So yeah, it is a good little battle between Thistleweight and Thurkalini, and I'm sure we'll see that shortly. But this battle here for fifth position, I mean for fourth position. Oh, look at it go here! And
seeing a
thanks to
GTR
the
come out sideways, you gotta love it.
yeah, great camera work by Neil in the camera director box at the moment. But thanks for the guys there on Twitch for letting us all highlight. It's great to get some comments there.
Great
on the
exit
screen.
there for the Nissan. Yeah, he's already passed him. So he's got the inside line. Yeah, he'll go back out. There we go. So we'll get a. It's getting. Oh, that
So this is
Lambo almost overcommitted there. And Mike Reel, as I said, would be very happy here. He's got his run on Rochford. So
He sure does, and I think Rochford has seen a few positions lost coming up this hill at the moment, and it looks like Doe's going to try and put one on him as well if he can. Justin doesn't want to lose touch
goes
of
defensive.
Mike. And great driving by these drivers here in the Simrigs Sprint Series here at OOR on a Wednesday night for Split Red.
It's good to see people battling but not taking each other out. And, you know, like I was very unfortunate once coming through that little chicane 2x2. They don't work there. So unless you have full commitment from both drivers. So these guys are doing a fantastic job. As it looks like Thistleweight might have got, you know, past and maybe have speed here over Damien, and Mike Reel and the rest of the gang is all ganging up behind him. So that Bentley definitely looks fast. Mike's having a really good stint, the second stint.
Yeah, Michael, we did say in the first stint, though, didn't you? You did say that the car seemed a little bit loose as well. So maybe those fresh tyres have helped him. But if the tyres are burning on these Bentley, he could be under a little bit of pressure later in this stint.
And this is obviously the battle for the Pro-Am lead as well. So Turcolini in 9th is currently leading, Real and then Rochford. So these are the top three in the Pro-Am class. So if anybody was wondering, our race leader is 8 seconds ahead of Mag. So Tang is still there doing his thing, doing a bit of a Verstappen with Keys, with Cooley not there at the moment, and kind of driving away. This is a really good exit here from Mike once again as the bench. Oh no! And he was just on the power and he got a bit sideways, and he will have damage now. He'll probably have to pit because the Bentley's engine sits at the front, and normally when you smack it there, you'll have a bit of... So that's a disaster for Mike. He was doing so well up until that point. And that's a very interesting little drop there. He was just overcommitted, I think, on the steering wheel with a full power.
So we just got a penalty there for ban for Vintinia for a 5-second penalty for a contact on the previous lap. I might have been from when he went a little bit wide into that chicane maybe, and then when he rejoined the track. We were watching it, but obviously the stewards have deemed that Ben has probably come back on a bit of an unsafe rejoin at that stage.
There's me thinking nobody would call it in, and maybe they both called it in. And yeah, as you said, the stewards obviously saw something there. So they obviously have the best angles. And yep, he's got a 5 seconds. So that will probably cost him that P3 that he's for. P4 he's busy fighting for.
Yeah, definitely. And It's going to hurt him a little bit, but he'll put that behind him and he'll keep kicking on because, you know, he has got a little bit of pace in that Mercedes, and he'll probably try and hold off Lucas if he can until the next round of pit stops and just see what happens. So as we said, it is a 2 mandatory stop in this race. So these sprint races even been an hour long. We were saying before how these drivers just, you know, they race hard and avoid contact as much as they can.
Yeah.
And when you think of a sprint series, like sprint races, you think quick 20-minute sort of races, but an hour long is still a decent sort of run, and a lot can happen in that hour. So you don't want to, you know, make a rash decision and make that silly move that end in dramas and your race.
Yeah,
Someone
no, you're
else.
100% right. The problem with a 60-minute race is there's not a lot of time to recover. So if you do have some sort of a mishap, you tend to not be able to make that back. As I saw that Mike Reel did go into the pits, and weirdly Doe did as well. So I know Mike had the little accident,
Yes.
but and he was fighting, and he obviously will be sitting there a lot longer. So that's probably his race run. We'll see where he feeds out after fixing that damage. As a key still behind Vintner here. This we've seen this since lap 1. These guys have been going at it. As we know, Vintner's got the 5-second penalty hanging over his head, so he'll be keen to get away. Probably with the next round of pit stops, and he's that Aston Martin has been glued to the back of this Merc.
Yeah, definitely. And we got some more comments coming in Twitch as well with a little unit. Yeah, he's a little bit taken back there. He's a bit surprised about that penalty to Ben. But obviously, as we said, it was we only saw the sort of the thing happening there. We obviously the stewards have a lot of angles, as you said. So here we go.
They run on him again. Yep.
Here this time he's not touching him on the back bumper. He's making sure he's not doing anything there. As they're bouncing over the curves, this looks a lot better, but the Aston just drifting a little bit wide and compromising. Washed a bit of pace out of his front of his car there.
Difficult to stick through that section so close to another car for sure. So, but it looks like he's got pace on him, and with the 5 seconds, I suppose a racer is always a racer. You want to try and overtake somebody on track as opposed to just waiting for the 5 seconds to play out. So it's part of the reason why people are here, right? It's to have a race. So having a good crack at it, Lucas Keys there.
Yeah, right down the field. There's some good little battles all around the place as well. So, yeah, it's why everyone turns up. That's why we enjoy our hobby here, sim racing. But it's still that good battle for 8th position that we're just having a look here with Rochford in 10th position. And Thistlethwaite leading the train here. This is a great little result here for the Nissan as well. He's been trying to get in the 10, Chris, but it just hasn't happened for him. And he's up in the 8th position here at Watkins Glen. So let's try and see if we can bring this Nissan home. So if there's anyone watching and a Nissan supporter, let us know on chat, either on Twitch or on YouTube, and show us your support for the GTR.
Yeah, great little battle packages set this 8, 9, 10, and I'm not sure the weaknesses and strengths of these cars now with the BOP specifically on this track. So the GTR tends to have good power, and going up the hill, you would think you would have them covered in that section of the track. But with the BOP, I've got no idea. Oh, as he came out there, went a bit wide, definitely scrubbed off some speed. So the Porsche might be interested here.
Yeah, don't forget the Porsche's actually got a 20 kilo reduction as well in its weight, so it's going to be pretty pacey up the hill as well. I think the Porsche. So there you can see the differences there with the weight differences. So the Nissan actually got 40 kilos weight reduction to BOP. So yeah, that's why the Nissans are up there doing well.
Turcolini is very interested now in this fight, so he's closed the gap right up into by 0.2 of a second, so right on his bumper, waiting for either the next little mistake as they're coming through the toe there. Looked like he had a really good exit there as well.
Yeah, I like the livery of Turcolini as well, the Porsche. It looks fairly intricate in all its detail there.
Yeah, just behind
Plenty
these
things
three,
going on.
just a shout out to Mr. Lau. He's the AM driver in P11th at the moment. So just a shout out to him, sitting a little bit on his own here.
And
In
yeah, he's got the old McLaren Marlboro
he's
sort of
got
livery. And
indeed. I wonder if it
Yeah.
comes with a whole package that Marlboro used to do. You know, with a anyway, we won't go
well,
down
it looks
there.
like yeah, that's right. But it looks like he's got a pocket full of marbles there as well. So if we do see the livery once again somewhere in this race, just have a look down the side of the car, and yeah, you'll see that he's got his marbles there. So
Ash White is doing a bit of inspection on this BMW's back bumper as well, like really close. I'm not too sure how you pronounce this guy in P14's name or girl.
Evan Orungra, I think it was. I think Sean actually almost nailed it last week. But yeah, obviously he's doing a great job, as you said, second in the AM class. Yeah, doing a great job.
Lucas Keys has just gone into the pits as a matter of interest. So I know him and Ben was having that massive fight. And he's actually got a 10-second penalty. I'm not sure if we missed that, but Lucas Keys got a 10-second penalty and Ben a 5 seconds. So, yeah, I might, I don't know if I'm smoking something, but on my screen, that's what I can see. And
Yeah.
as race control just telling us that he started the back, that's even better. Wow, up to P13. Hats
Yeah,
off.
great.
Fantastic run.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a great drive and also a great livery as well. So here we go. So car 22. So this is actually Lucas's car for dangerous driving on lap 15. So I think that could have been for his little bump that we were
Yeah, the
talking
bump
about
draft,
too.
I think so. And look, to be
So-
honest, I think if that's what caused the other car to go off the track and then created the other issue, it's probably fair. It's a shame though that they both didn't get a 5 second just so we could see the battle continue, I suppose. Selfishly, I look at that going, that would have been a great result.
Yeah, we can always do that, but obviously you know, at the end of the day, there is a standard that OOR do want to promote, and you know, even if it was just a little friendly bump, I think that they don't want to see people seeing that and thinking they can get away with it. So that's why I think the 10-second penalty was given to Lucas in the end, and they probably took a while just to, you know, cipher through it all. So that's why they didn't want to make a rash decision. Yeah, but obviously we did see that one come out to Ben earlier, and we're wondering why, but you can see how it's the repercussions from it for Lucas, unfortunately.
Yes, the Porsche just doesn't have enough legs coming up that hill, unfortunately. And so I suppose, as you can see there, the GTR is all kinds of sideways coming through, trying to hang on there. I think the Porsche will catch him throughout the rest of the lap, and then just don't have enough to catch him. So it will probably take a mistake like such for Turcolini to get past here. So Thistleway doing a really good job in that Ferox livery.
Yeah, isn't it great to see? And he's just moving around quite a little bit in that Nissan in front. But what a great sounding car this Porsche is, as well as we're on board with Turcolini. I love the Porsche sound.
You're sounding like Jim Stoddart, one of our fellow racers. He's an absolute Porsche fanboy. As Luke Rochford is not too far behind that Porsche. I was just going to say, I saw the shark teeth or whatever it is appearing in the as he's coming into the pits. So,
Yeah, looks like Scott's coming in now just to get that stop done, and that'll be his mandatory stops all done with 20 minutes remaining. So they have split it up into thirds, most of these runners. So when will I think Tang will actually come in maybe this lap.
got a commanding lead of 12 seconds, and I think then Mags over Taylor for third is a 16-second gap. So big gaps at the front of the race. As Cooley is still circulating with a pink banner next to his name, having set the fastest lap. And
Yeah, it really is credit to Cooley to come back after, you know, something that would really upset some drivers. And as we sort of have mentioned through this broadcast, that most of us just turn up for those battles as well. And yeah, he wants to probably keep that fastest lap at least, because I think he's got the fastest lap at every race so far, every round of this season. So he probably wants to try and take away at least something from here. And there's a possibility that he might get a few extra positions before this end of this race as well. He's still got one
Oh,
mandatory
for sure.
stop
Yeah.
though, so that may put a bit of a dampener on it. But you don't know what's going to happen. But here we go.
Other
So
peop- Yeah, go for it.
just saying, Mags is in for his pit stop, and he's just in front of Crick in the Nissan. So Mags has gone in from out of position 2. So these guys wonder if they will react and come in as well.
Yeah, this will be a pit stop strategy, I think. So a lot of these guys will look to overtake the other guy through the pits sequence. And these days, obviously, the stop go. I think it was Mr. Lowe in P23 got a stop go 30. So those things can all still happen by speeding in the pit lane, which doesn't get reset currently in OOR. So yeah, penalties given by the game. Sometimes I feel like that is just like ruthless. Like I get it that in real life there's dangerous there's people there. But in a sim, when you like go 1 kilometer over the speed limit and you get a stop go 30, that's quite tough to take.
Yeah, so we're looking at Scott at the moment just to see where he comes out, because he pitted just a little bit earlier than Thistlethwaite. So Thistlethwaite's in the pits at the moment in the Nissan. So will we see a move here between Thistlethwaite and Rochford?
It will be very close, you would think. I don't know if they would have had any damage on those cars. It looked like they raced fairly cleanly, so it's all coming down to the in and the out lap, and then obviously the efficiency in the pits, hitting your marks. As it comes through the final section here, I think I can see the cars already moving. So this will be really close as he feeds out of the pits. Let's keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Thistlethwaite is just coming around the bend on the exit here. Oh, he's squirming all over the shot, and his wheel was right on that exit line. So that's a great job, a great exit. And he knows the race is on here, but he's obviously going to have to get everything back going again. So Rochford may still get onto the back of Thistlethwaite. As Circolini in third position. So the top 3 yet to make their final stop. Is just in saying that Tonkin is actually in the pit lane. And Circolini decides to do one more.
For those interested in the Keys Vintner battle, so obviously Ben has taken his 5-second penalty. Keys still has the 10 seconds hanging over his head, because I think that came through after the pit stop, and he's 4.5 seconds ahead of Ben. So at this point, Ben will get that place back from Lucas.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, won't we? Because obviously he's got some clear air now, Lucas, and see if he can try and get a 10-second margin over Ben.
This is the beautiful McLaren that got all kinds of issues on the first lap, and Kevin is, I think it's Kevin, yeah, Kevin Lies had a really good comeback and up to P13 already, so obviously has pace in that car, but just got really, I don't know if he got unlucky or what happened on that first lap, but I think it was in a couple of incidents as we're catching up with this McLaren and the Ferrari with the McLaren livery. So
yeah, definitely. There's the marbles on the side. He's got it there instead of the Marlboro. And look at George here.
Taking a much better line through there.
And he's in the race factory McLaren.
So I wonder if this car ahead, it looks like it's got some damage on the back there. So I don't know how much of a compromise that is on that car at the moment. But it definitely looks like George has got some pace here. So this should get very spicy up the top of the hill here.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little run, but the Ferrari may extend its legs a little bit, but it looks like he's vulnerable here and really
both finding some marbles.
This could get interesting. They're both having a look, but he's pulled out, luckily.
As Damiano is coming in for his pits. So he was battling with Thistlethwaite and with Rochford, which it looks like Thistlethwaite's got a good second and a half or so over Rochefort at the moment. So yeah, let's see where Turcolini comes out. His times looked fairly good coming before he came into the pit, so should be a really tight battle here. It's so difficult when you're under this pressure and you're trying to nail a pit stop as well. Like, that's not the easiest thing to do. I know some people go through different cams and all kinds of things to get your marks hit. So we'll see as
Yeah.
Damiano is moving, and it looks like Thistlewade's got that position.
Yeah, nice job there. And
And so
also
is Rochefort. Yeah.
But Sang's also in the pits from the lead, taking his final stop.
Interesting, I've also noticed, I think Tofik is only 2.6 seconds behind Mag, so he has definitely been catching. That's P2, P3 battle. And Mag's had a commanding lead at some stage over the P3, so Tofik has slowly but surely just etched his way back into this race without us noticing too much.
Yeah, no, he's been flying underneath the radar. And it's good to see him up onto that podium position. He's currently 8th in the championship as well. 3rd in the pro class, running in the championship. So obviously good round here tonight.
Yeah, he's they're always running their very similar livery, although he's got some new design on the front of the car at the moment, by the looks, for the series.
Yeah, it's a striking livery, that's for sure.
Yeah, these guys will be looking forward to the 24-hour at Spa as well. For those who don't know, that's coming up fairly soon. So a lot of drivers are busy trying to prep up, and I know this will be a team to watch in that race for sure.
Yeah, qualifying ends, I think, this Sunday, actually. So it's all ramping up at the moment.
I still got a few laps to do, mate. Do you still have to do a few laps?
Oh, I'm done. I've done my the laps that I can do. That's I
Exhausted.
I can do more if I want to, but I've done my laps and that's enough. And I'll wait for me other full team drivers to get a few laps in as well. Which
Yeah, I was
they're all
saying to
doing.
somebody else, like, it's a 24-hour race. Like, where you qualify doesn't really make that big a difference. Like the 10th you're hunting on your 30th lap, at some point it's not worth it.
And just there looking at George. Again in 15th position. I'm not too sure where he qualified, but he's doing a good job, actually, up in that top 15, the top half of the grid.
Yeah, George is up 8 positions from what I can see. So he started in P23, so being up in P15, so that's fairly good going.
Yeah, nice run.
Yeah, the biggest losers at the moment, obviously, as we know, is Cooley, but he's down in P23. He's gone past PLO. So he's made up 1 position, and Mike Crick is next in his radar as he sets another fastest lap.
Yeah,
and that was tight.
Move. Yeah, it was a good move by Ahmad as well, I think it was.
Yeah, so they'll be seeing Cooley. Cooley still have another stop to do, so sorry, my mistake. So even though he's made up that position, he's still got to do another stop, so he'll probably lose. He's obviously just looking for some battles on track and obviously setting the timing board alight.
Yeah, so Justin, he's just, look what's just behind there is Cooley has just got the pace. You can just see the quality of racer here with Chris, and he's here. Have a look at his team name. I'm here for the memes. He probably needs all those memes going on at the moment to keep him cheering up after the earlier issue that we saw. He was leading the race if you just joined us, having a great battle with Tang. But then we've seen him coming into, I don't know if it was into the boot or somewhere, a part of the circuit, and he just went straight ahead, which looks like some sort of hardware issue on his end. But here we go with George, again, still following hard.
Can't split them on their lap times. They're doing very, very similar lap times, so there's not really any overspeed here for these two guys. So, yeah, this battle will most likely go to the end. Oh, there we go. That Ferrari just went wide there, so that there's probably a move coming up.
Yeah, is that going to go up the hill as we're looking at Sang? Still doing a good job. He's got a nearly 13-second lead on Mag, so he's doing well. As Cooley just coming into the pits there in the background, so he's going to be the final car to get all those mandatory stops done.
Yes, we've got just about 9 minutes left, so he didn't get the move done. He got close, I would imagine, but George still sitting here behind McLaren livery Ferrari.
Now this
Good
is
old.
where you need a level head, don't you, Leo, at this stage, because it's getting late in the race. They've been going for, as we said, nearly an hour, and you want to make this final move, but you don't want to make a silly move where you make that contact. You want to try and make this move clean.
Yeah,
And,
especially if you've made up such good time, as you said, Neil. I mean, it's this late in the race. You want to make sure you'd rather not take both off and still get home. You've already made up 8 positions, but say that to a racer, not to take a chance when it presents itself is it's always difficult.
Exactly, but George is doing his best here to actually make some sort of opening for himself. But here we go. Look, we're looking at Rochford's now catching Thistleweight.
Yeah, this it's definitely died out a little bit. This little battle after their pit stops, they were all a lot closer, and obviously we had Mike Reel in there, who's gone down to P16 after his dramas when he hit the wall with his white Bentley. So he's catching up to George as well, that we just had a look at a bit earlier. So he might be eyeing P14 still as a comeback. So yeah, Mike had some really good pace. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But
Personally, I don't think this is over, though. I think this battle for 8th position is going to go all the way down to the end, because I think these other cars behind Thistleweight are slowly catching. It seems that way.
yeah, the field is definitely spread now. This is definitely the closest battle, I think, out on track, as you mentioned. So sitting here with Mags in a very good P2. 13 seconds behind the current leader. You still got Tawfiq only 3 seconds behind him, so I think that's kind of been the same stalemate for quite a few laps. So it looks like he's got that covered. And I think Mags is P9 in the current standing, so this result will do him a world of good as well.
Oh, definitely. He will jump the order a little bit. So he'll actually, I think Tawfiq is actually just in front of him in that championship too. So that'll be really good. There's only 6 points actually, I think, between the two. Maybe a little bit more than that. About 7 points, I think, the difference.
That's right.
Coming into this round.
So just another update. So Keys still has the 10 seconds hanging over his head. Ben is only 3.5 behind him, but Taylor is only 2 seconds behind him. So if Keys takes that 10 seconds, he'll actually drop behind Taylor to P6. So so that will cost him actually quite a bit for that little bump drive.
Yeah,
I think it's what the penalty was for.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know if I've seen Chris Taylor. Oh, is it Chris Taylor? No, I'm just thinking Chris Taylor.
Yeah, it's Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen much of him, I don't think, in this series. He may have raced already. I'm not too sure, actually.
Just looking at the timing board, I don't know if I got it wrong. He's 14 seconds behind, so yeah, so my mistake. So Lucas will only drop the 1 space.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure if this is actually Taylor's first run in here in this season.
Rochford was very wide there. Oh my goodness, he almost lost it. I don't know how he kept that going straight. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's all right. You're keeping the eye on the action, where I'm just trying to find where Taylor fits into the whole scheme of things. But obviously, I think this could actually be his first run here in the series. So
Rochford just brushes the little barrier there again as well, and on that exit. A few people have done that today, that's for sure. As you should, as you visit Watkins Glen. It's one of those things to do, you can't go home with the left-hand side not having a bit of a scrape on it.
No, that's right. The umcar is always waiting for you. But it's less than 5 minutes remaining now. All the cars have had their mandatory stop, so we've got a few little battles right through the field here still to keep an eye on. And,
yeah, Turkaleni is on it here, mate. He's eyeing this P9.
Yeah, he definitely is. It's good to see too. He wants to take that Porsche up that one extra step if he can.
So yeah, we've got a BMW leading by about 14 seconds, and then a McLaren, then a Ferrari, Lucas Keys and Vintner, which is I think Aston Martin and a Merc. And then we've got a Ferrari, Lamborghini, and a Nissan. So as you can see, it's just a little bit of everything going on. It's fantastic to see that. I think there's only one manufacturer. There's 2 Lambos and 2 Ferraris. The rest is all different manufacturers in the top 10.
Yeah, nice. Well picked up there. And Doe's just behind this little battle too. And if they keep going, Doe may have a little sniff on the last lap in that BMW in the Triple Eight. So he'll be looking forward to seeing if these guys can slow themselves down with any little battle. There's probably another 3 laps, maybe 2 more laps to go, depending where Sang is on circuit. Yeah. Here he is coming around the toe of the boot section of this circuit.
Yeah, commanding when it's a shame that issue that Cooley had was taken away. These guys were in such a good battle up until that point. So, but since then he's been absolutely untouchable. Has been Chris Tsang. So it's the battle of the Chris's, Chris Tsang and Chris Cooley. So unfortunately for Cooley had that issue. So yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day too, Sang was probably, he was probably looking forward to that fair fight as well. So it's probably taken a little bit away from him, but he'll be actually loving this run here to take the checkered flag if he can. There's still 2 minutes remaining. We know anything can happen. We saw it with Chris, and I tell you what, I think Sang's already used all his bad luck that he has come his way in the opening couple of rounds. So he actually had a storming drive, if you're not too aware of it, Leo. He was last in the first race, first round at Imola, and came all the way back to finish. I think it was in 3rd or something like that. So it was a storming
That's
drive.
Awesome. As he got blue flags in front of him now. That's great, yeah. Seeing people drive like that when they come through the field's amazing. Talking of which, I just saw Mike Reel has actually caught up to George, P16. I thought he might get there. So he was eyeing, trying to come back after he's hit his Bentley. So bit of a close fight as well. But yes. Oh,
and the barriers stuck. The banner's stuck there into
they
the.
They say Red Bull gives you wings, but I believe it's different things that can give you wings.
Oh, there you go. It's gone. So great little pickup there from our broadcaster.
Chris, just reminding everybody he was the fastest for the day, just for if there was any doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a replay here. As you can see, he eats a lot of that Armco railing. And obviously, it's not showing the sign picking up onto the McLaren that we did see. But here we go with Chris at the moment. Chris at the moment leading this race with not much to go.
Yeah, so we look at the class winners at the moment. We've got Tsang, Mags, and Taufik for Pro. Then we've got Keys with the penalty over him. So Vintner will probably take silver, and then Tonkin there in P3. And then we've got in the Pro-Am, we've got Rochefort, Turcolini, and Doe. And then for Ammo, P14 is still Lau. So those are your current battles at the moment.
Yeah, storming drive by Lau. But here we go. Look, here we go. George, as you said earlier, this is a battle for 15th position.
I think Mike just took that from him. So, yeah, Mike trying to fight back, get to salvage something after hitting that barrier coming up the hill.
So the guys are all coming to be on their last lap. The leader is just behind these guys as well. So they're going to have to do another lap at the moment.
Yeah, I believe we're on the final one now. Yep. It's been a fantastic race. I'll tell you what, time has flown. There's been battles all over the place up until the last lap. As we can see here, Damiano hasn't given up on Rochefort, and he's going for the inside. And he probably went a bit. He didn't get the apex. Rochefort might feel a little bit miffed about that one, but they're still going side by side up the hill. As he closes the door, luckily he didn't. I don't know how he kept that out of the barrier.
How did Chris Cooley keep to that car straight then? He had it all on opposite lock as he's coming up the hill to avoid him. Here we go on
This
board.
is the replay. This is the replay. As he gets it. Great car control. Like, you cannot make that up. That is incredible. So, as Tang
And-
comes across the line for a very, very commanding victory. Well done,
Yeah,
Chris.
good job. And Jacob Maggs, well done for his second position in that McLaren. He'll be happy with that result. And here
Tofiq
we
with
go
a very
with
good
Tofiq.
podium. Well done, Moyen. That's a fantastic result for him. Will definitely help him. As Rochefort is still sideways, still battling. As
There
Lucas
comes-
Keys, yeah, will probably get that penalty. We'll see where that puts him down to.
Yeah, that's unlucky there, but those things happen. And Rochford, looks like he's going to bring it home here in 10th position.
Kudos to Damiano. He took that inside line there. I don't know if that will be called into the stewards. These guys were having a fight the whole race, so it will be. I don't know if there's going to be post-race penalties, but that was a really good battle. As Taylor's gone P6 and Tonkin P7, and Thistlethwaite P8. As we see Damiano and Rochefort cross the line for P9 and P10.
Yeah, good little battle. They'll be a little bit sweaty, I reckon, after that battle for sure. And George, again,
Good on George.
Yeah, seeing if he can get that position back, but it looks like the big Bentley has just got the legs here at the end of this race.
Yeah, he was bullied out of that position right at the end. But great race. George has come up so many spots, so I don't know who would be your...
comes through with Lau. Good one from Gary. Good run.
That is split blood.
Well done there. So well done to the runners here as we go through the overall. We got Sang, Mags, Tafiq, Vintinia, Keys, Taylor, Tonkin, Thistlethwaite, and Turcolini. In the silver class, we got Vintinia, Keys, Tonkin, Thistlethwaite, Sakanis, Bishop, Lowe, Cooley, and Jasmine. Pro-Am, Turcolini, Rochford, Doe, Real, White, Sue, Rotatori, Maddleford, and Chris Murphy there in 9th position. And then the AM, as we've seen, Lowe come over the finish line to take victory over Devon Agura and Mike Crick in 3rd position.
Hey, Neil, you deserve a drink after pronouncing all those drivers' names, man. Well done.
That's all right. But I hope you enjoyed that Simrigs Sprint Series for OOR, Split Red. It was a sensational race there and a great victory, as we said, for Chris Tang. So he would be very happy with that. Condolences to Chris Cooley for that unfortunate hardware issue, but I'm sure he'll be back bigger and strong in 2 weeks' time. So we do have a week break on Wednesday next week. There will be nothing here for the Sprint Series until the following week when we go, I think it was Alton Park I mentioned, for round 4.
Yeah, so
until
please
next
tune
time,
in
guys.
for that. Thank you, Neil. It was really great to have to be in the box tonight, and thank you to you and to other Neil as well. And thank you to all of everybody that tuned in.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy your rest of the week and enjoy the weekend.
Till next time. Bye.